Welcome back to the first day of Six Invitational 2024 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I'm Ginny, your host, joined on the desk with Anne and Ollie. A little bit of a switcheroo in terms of positions, but we're going to be heading into the second best of three of today here on the A stream, and it's going to be Geekay up against DarkZero. Now, both of these teams had a very interesting last couple of months, so I want to jump straight into it and start off with the side of Geekay, because let's be honest, they completely exploded onto that international stage back in Atlanta.
Yeah, but a really exciting thing is this is their first time at SI, right? If you're looking at this graphic, they haven't had a result at SI yet. They're newer to the international stage due to MENA being added as a region for this year in competitive. And that also means that if you look at their past, they haven't actually played against an NA team before. Because at the Atlanta Major, they played against Brazil teams, Japan teams, EU teams, but none of those were any of the NA teams. So this is some kind of new territory for them.
Brand new territory.
Even more so, we're looking at the LAN appearances here, like there is a lot of experience for DarkZero. But then we're looking at Geekay here, Ollie, and it's one.
It is one, a measly one. It will go up to two though.
Yay!
Only in like 30 minutes when map one has been played, bang, you can put 2 LAN appearances in there, and you can say that you played against an NA team. I think for me, it just goes to show how exciting this is, because we don't really know what we're going to get with Geekay. Obviously, we've seen them play internationally before. We know what this team's capable of, but they're now at SI, they're now running with the big dogs, and they need to step things up. And how they're going to stack up against a team like DarkZero, especially with how exciting that roster is looking now.
There's so much to break down for this matchup, but before we do so, let's head over to the coach from DarkZero, who has an interview in terms of what they think this is going to be played out like.
Really excited against GK. This is a new roster. We got Starboys, Bolo, and Troy Canadian ready to go. We didn't get to play GK. They had a little bit of a Cinderella run, so we're hoping we don't let that happen here.
A man, a few words, but a lot of things to unpack here. I think we're going to start off with the fact that DarkZero has had some phenomenal pickups, which I think if there's anything to get excited about this game here, and it's the roster.
For sure. I mean, those pickups are phenomenal. It's really good to see this for DarkZero as well. And we've seen them pick up like newer players or more rookie players, and now they're picking up these experienced players. But we have seen them perform before at major events and in a very significant way as well. Really excited to see Bolo back at the retirement home as well. An EU import, of course, that's going to make us like, major EU desk very happy about that as well.
True, actually, I didn't think about that.
Exactly. You look at a player like Nathan, what he's been able to do in rosters that he's been in previously. He's been in and around the conversation. He's played with a lot of players that have gone on to do great things. And you've got to look at that and you've got to think, what's he going to be able to bring now? And touched on it there. DZ, they've had a habit of bringing in rookies. We look at players like Rice, didn't quite work out. They were looking for a very vocal player on this roster. They've already got Canadian. That's a shouting match that no one really wants to get into. But Nath has got that experience, and hopefully if he can stand up and be that vocal player that DZ are looking for, fantastic. And I mean, I don't even need to be logged into Twitch now to know what Twitch chat's typing. But believe me, Bolo plays soon.
Chat is always an interesting one to look at, but another interesting fact here is going to be looking at GK in terms of how they have performed in that first ever major, which was Atlanta, but there have been changes ever since, which then again brings the question, is that Cinderella run something they can replicate here today, Anne?
Yeah, it's a very curious thing to see, right? Because they had a bit of IGL issues, I guess, the last time around. I mean, they've said that this is usually on multiple people's shoulders to fulfill that kind of role. They didn't have leader for that miracle run they had in Atlanta, and then decided not to continue with him, even though he helped them a lot on that IGLing part. So that's my main question for when we see JK in play for their first game today. Who's taking on the IGL role? Who's going to be the main talking point on that team? And how structured are things going to be? If we go back to the point where IGLing is on multiple people's shoulders, how effective is this team going to show up today?
GK have still got remnants of that miracle run though. They've got Noodle, don't forget. And Noodle, of course, did play last year in Montreal at Six Invitational. So you're going to be looking at him and you're going to be saying, give me a little bit of that information, give me a little bit of a head start, let's really understand what we're going to be going up against here. One thing that we know about these MENA teams is that they don't get intimidated by a big stage. They don't get intimidated by a big storied opponent. They're just here to play and they're here to have a lot of fun. GK embody that mindset. set. I don't think that they're going to be sat there worried about what's going to go on today. They're just going to get into the server and start running around.
And also something to really highlight and hammer home here is Geekay is one of the 2 teams that are representing the MENA region at Six Invitational. The MENA region has continuously proven time and time again that they belong here on this international stage. So this is so important for the pride of the region as well. But without further ado, let's head into those map features because that's what we're really looking forward to. It's been a while since we've seen these. I mean, we just saw them G2 against NIP, but in terms of the teams, in terms of the last time we've seen them play, that's been a couple of months. So Oregon Bank, Border, as well as Cafe are immediately taken out of the map pool. Nothing too crazy.
No, but I'm kind of surprised to not see Clubhouse being banned by DarkZero, considering it is a really good map for Geekay. They've got a 9-game win streak on that map. Ooh. It's also not picked by either of these teams, so that's very curious going into this whole situation as well. We've got Shelly coming out as a pick from DarkZero. That is a map that they have had changing performances on. It's not been the greatest for them in recent history, but they do have a high preference for this map, so it's a map that they definitely enjoy playing.
Shelly coming in there and Consular as the second map guaranteed with a Labs decider. I mean, oof. I can't wait to see a little bit of Nighthaven. I'm really biased. I love the map. I'm glad that we've got it as a chance and a possibility here. I do think the map veto is a little bit strange, though. Geekay have obviously targeted those really 2 powerful picks from DarkZero. They're not looking to go to those highly preferred maps. But the Clubhouse, it does beg a little bit of a question. Has an opportunity been missed there by Geekay?
I think the Nighthaven one is a curious one too, right? Because we saw in the graphic earlier that this is one of the strongest maps from DarkZero on LAN appearance. In recent history, not so much. But then if we look at Geekay, they've got a flawless run it so far. Played it 3 times since September, also won all 3 times that they played it.
Oh, this is looking like a really interesting map pick, and in general, an incredible veto. But with that, we're ready to head into our second best of 3 here on the A stream. DarkZero going up against Geekay. So let's head over to our lovely casters. We'll be breaking it down.
Thank you so very much. It is excellent to be back at the Six Invitational, but more importantly, it's excellent to be back in Brazil.
Yeah.
You've been here both times. I've been here both times.
I was going to say.
Now all 3 times.
Yeah, just like that. And yeah, it's been a while. 2019 was the last time we were in Brazil. Is that correct?
And I looked much less clown-like.
That's your own doing though, Parker. That hair that you have, that lion's mane.
Here's in my defense, here's the issue.
Okay, the issue.
It takes a while for hair this thick to dry.
Okay.
And as it dries, it changes shape.
Okay.
And maybe gets a little bit poofy.
A little bit?
Don't blame me.
A little bit?
Okay.
Oh.
But before we get started, Nick, there's one thing I want to say.
Okay, what do you want to say?
Hi, Pengu.
No.
It's me.
No.
Your only spectator. For months, I have created the illusion that you were posting to a large audience.
Yeah.
But here's the truth. All those people in the comments are me. And now to prove it, I'm going to send this message from all my accounts in Twitch chat.
Thank you, Parker. That was what was posted below my most recent tweet about us casting today, and you even joined in and copy-pasted that into your very own message.
I went so far as to copy-paste your entire tweet, including your photo, and just make that same tweet.
Low-effort tweeting, Parker, what can I say?
Twitter is awful. I don't use it pretty much ever. I check it once a day at absolute most. It is a hellscape. However, you're telling me that at events, I have the opportunity to troll you by using social media. I'll do that.
That's fair.
Just that. No more trolling, no more jokes. DZG are going up against GKY.
They are. And before we get into it, I just want to say,
what does the G mean?
Where's the
what is the G?
Where's the G in DarkZero?
It's not DarkZero game. What's the G?
It's eSport, not gaming.
Oh, and immediately getting under their skin, the Los backgrounds coming out from GK. If you recall back in Atlanta, DZ got absolutely stomped by Los.
7-0 on that final map of Skyscraper, I believe. It was brutal.
It was DZG's map.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of DCG, 381 days. That is how long ago it was that Jason, aka Brolo, stepped down as an active player in the professional scene of Siege. And he's back now for DarkZero for at least this tournament of the Six Invitational. And hovering glass for a brief moment there, but switching onto the Flores. Now, when we're looking at DarkZero, a lot of people are going to talk about Bolo joining, superstar player, big deal. Yes, we know. But Nave, coming from Europe, being that support player, and maybe, possibly, going to be a voice for DarkZero as well, making it more loose. He can do more things on the flex side of things. Nave on that more supportive role, really like lead from the back. So if Troy is going to let go of his reins on this team and let Nave kind of help him, I could really see DarkZero have a different performance and maybe even a different playstyle throughout this entire event.
I am eagerly anticipating the changes to DarkZero. I'm gonna... Jack, are you listening right now? Fresh.
Always.
Fresh, I know you're probably listening to this. I hope you're listening to this. You shoot me a message. I want to know. Fresh came in here and said something about DarkZero before we got into the matchup, and I'd like to use that on the broadcast. Okay. So, Jackie boy, if you were listening, to give me permission to say it, because I think it is an intriguing thing to say. Providing, of course, he's watching the other match, which is SSG versus Wolves, happening on the B stream. Either way, we can talk about it at a later date. The addition of Nath is the most intriguing part of this new DarkZero roster.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see a slow start. It's your first matchup, your first game of the Six Invitationals. You don't want to just lose bodies early, so a still, you know, very methodical DarkZero attack right now, mostly pushing from the south side, that's Solar, Master Bedroom, etc. But they do have some pressure on the library balcony as well. So good old split theory, as we have to use as a term these days. But Geekay doing a great job. They're just kind of sitting still.
Now, this is the perfect time, as we're still in the early moments of the round, the zenith of the round, if we shall say that. Maybe explain some split theory to the people watching at home.
I actually hate the term. So split theory is basically when teams, they attack from like many different angles at once, and you kind of gotta play for yourself. Whereas the old style of Siege is 5 or 4 people from one single side, with maybe one guy backstabbing. So right now DarkZero, they are showing us kind of like the split theory. They got library bulk pressure, they're roam clearing as well. They're attacking from multiple areas of the map at once.
There you go, and there's the very first bit of flames sent out by Nath. First kill for DarkZero. Comes, of course, on the heels of Panbazoo getting the first kill. Nate's first kill for DarkZero, just in case you're curious about it. Control now of the upstairs by DarkZero, as the 3 remaining members of Geekay have been relinquished to mostly the basement and playing peripheral sites. Noodle will attempt the retake upstairs in Solarium. He'll have a heads-up gunfight with Bolo. They'll have to wait for his very first kill on DarkZero, because he's out for the count. Canadian down below where Noodle could potentially retreat through. Nath another kill, this time onto Key. Hasham on the board. Trading back and forth with 30 seconds to go.
There's the thing, DarkZero, they're kind of everywhere. We see Troy holding a window, we see Nath holding a window as well, and yeah, the active gunfights right now favoring Geekay, but it's still 3v2 in favor of DarkZero. They still got this round favored so far.
Now one of the best guns in the game in the hands of Canadian. Inching up and down goes Hisham, the 417, just chewing right through him. Noodle over by Chimney, punished by Panbazoo. First kill in the round, last kill in the round. DZ, take round number 1.
If you're DarkZero, I feel like you go into this saying, okay, Geekay, they might be running into us, seeking gunfights, play really like overly aggressive, because that's kind of like the Mena playstyle. There was this interview a while back where, I'm not sure who exactly said it from Mena, but it said, we don't really typically plan. It's all about going for those kills and that map control. So if you expect that kind of performance from your opponent when you're DarkZero, it makes sense to hold angles on those window balconies and let them make the first move. You see it here. Nath, he holds his angle for a solid minute and 30 seconds. He finds 1 kill. Captify comes out, finds the 2nd kill as well. And then Nath, again, just holding a doorway, sees a bit of movement, gets that easy kill. DarkZero didn't have to move a whole lot and didn't really have many gunfights happening. It was just Geekay that running away from them or running into them. Nath with the energy there. Love to see it. Of course, had a phenomenal start for him. We love seeing when support players, they get a couple of kills, they get to be a part of the action. And this is the thing that I think DarkZero can really benefit from. Having a vocal player on the one side of the map, which was Canadian, on the Trophy Master Bedroom side, and having Nath on the opposite side on Library Balcony. If they're both vocal players, they can be like, oh, hey guys, movement over here, or hey, you know, library players have left this position. Expect more people to come fight you guys on Master Bedroom, for example. So I just want to see Nath stay as vocal as possible when we see those player cams, when we see maybe a tactical timeout, and to kind of gather like how much input is he actually providing for this team.
DZ have never really had a problem getting the players that they want for their team. If you recall, they picked up Rice for the Atlanta Major. Or, well, before that, but of course he came to the Atlanta Major.
Yeah.
I think after what we witnessed in Atlanta, it was very evident that he was not the answer for the team. He was relatively quickly moved off of the roster once Atlanta ended. And now, of course, reaching out, getting Bolo and Nath after Gavin was also released from the roster, which was a bit more surprising. As just from the eye test, Gavin didn't seem like he was that poor of a fit for DarkZero, but clearly we never have the full information. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. As to why teams make these decisions, it's anybody's guess. Now, first bit of context going to come up in the library. Trix dies yet again from a very similar position with Nafe on the board. Bolo 0 for 2 to start off with. Seriously with 1 kill before NJR punishes him. Those DMRs in the hands of DZ are so strong. A 4v3 with well over half of the round.
It's the same thing for GK. They start off well just sitting in the corners, but then when they start to make a little bit of a movement, they get picked off every single time. And DC, again, they're rotating, swapping things around. They start being very passive, but now they're going to get proactive, right? They're going to make that pressure down towards the basement, and no Noodle on the Solus is downstairs. And if they can take him down, that's going to enable a stronger position for them, knowing that flank is removed from the game. But Noodle reads it well. He runs further back into the basement and hides downstairs, knowing that simply staying alive is all he needs to do right now. And that he and Hashom make the magic happen on the side first, then he can go for a late flank.
Well, 40 seconds elapsed since the last time we spoke about the state of these teams. Hashom will get a little bit brazen. He'll duel NJR, lose the gunfight. Second kill for NJR now with less than a minute to go. DarkZero was always a methodical team, but their biggest weakness when we've seen them from the last stage and the last major was they were very slow. This has not been the case so far here on Chalet. Their pace is noticeably faster.
Yeah. Getting those early kills and still progressing well. And now smoke's going out. They're going to hit the side momentarily, but 30 seconds still. They can take their time.
He's in a tough position because they could collapse on him from 3 separate angles, maybe 4 if somebody were to head in towards that billiard table. Oh my! Key with a kill, Nafe, immediately punishing him for that. Now it's all up to Noodle to take back the sights. P90 in hand, down goes Pambazoo. Noodle will ascend to the very top floor with the diffuser running in favor of DarkZero.
Defenders have
Just
eyes
need to
on
wait
the
out
diffuser.
this time.
Attackers need to
Solus
protect
is
it.
often uniquely equipped in a post plant. But as long as neither Canadian nor Nafe sit on electronics, their actual positions will be concealed from the operator. So it's just guesswork for Noodle at this point. Half of the diffuser now completely gone. As Noodle is shooting through the floors essentially hopelessly. He doesn't have information. He's got a good shot, but that's pretty much all going for him. Nafe watching the doorway looking for kill number 5. Time's about to run out. We're now past the point of no return. DarkZero will get the round, and Nafe will get the kill. 5 kills through 2 rounds for the new flex/support player brought on to DarkZero, and it's an excellent start for DZ.
Best start you can hope for, that's for sure. Individually. Chop,
And the
chop.
trash talking, by the way.
Ooh, chop, chop from Nafe.
Gun.
Yeah. I mean, now I gotta look at GK right now. They need to change something up. They cannot just sit in these corners and just get picked apart by utility from the Capital, Fire, the Florist drones, etc. They gotta get proactive. I like what Noodle is doing. He's getting out there, trying to get things, you know, to happen. But most of DarkZero playing so far to building again, they find 1, 2, or even 3 kills right here, just from sitting or repelling outside a door or a window. 3 kills, in fact, in this round, yeah. So, GK, they gotta try and bait DarkZero into the build-em, let them get a bit of a foothold somewhere, and then maybe strike back, either C4 below, or just take 2 people together and go for that single or gunfight, because right now, they're just losing out in 1v1s or playing against 1 versus 2s, and it's not a great look. They did try bar back-to-back, okay, didn't work either time, so it makes perfect sense now to change up that bomb side, and look at the upper lineup. Completely different. Tubaru, Mira, Warden, the Kaid, Wamai, a ton of utility now to play against DarkZero. So they say, okay, we're not going to have the best weapons necessarily, but we have different tools to the job. Deny the walls, slow you down, because DarkZero, yeah, they've been fast in terms of pacing. They get a kill early, they get a kill in the mid-round, and then they win in that final 20 seconds of the round. But if GK can now stop dying early and have Kaid, Tubaru, Mira, well, if DarkZero takes the bombs with 20 seconds left, that's not going to be ideal and longer for this round.
It's the first time that you and I are going to be casting the newest operator, Tubaru, who has the Zoto canister. It's more of a cryo canister, essentially, for those that don't know, and it does an awful lot. If you throw it at the floor, you can see footsteps from down below, it can freeze walls, it's basically breach denial. And we'll touch on everything that those canisters do as they are deployed, providing we get that far. I mean, when Noodle went into the very final moments of the previous round, it's good to say that he plays relatively sheltered. Also, he's got Maverick's DMR.
Yeah, on defense, more DMRs on the defensive side. We
They
see them
hurt
at land. Exactly,
so
they
much.
hurt so much. 2 bullets or 3, you're either injured or you're outright just dead. And pairing the Kite with the Tuberu is exactly what you want to see, or a Bandit for that case. So you can freeze the wall, trick it, deny that heartbeat sketch, and keep those mirror windows alive upstairs because, yeah, master bedroom defense, but they're extending below inside the kitchen as well. So a fair bit of map control now in the favor of GK and DarkZero. They need to work on their problem solving now because, again, this time, GK are not surrendering these free kills any longer. They're sitting in strong fortified positions, and now DC, they have to make an active first move.
That's the big concession for GK, is that they were so strong into holding that library. They weren't successful, but they were investing a lot into it. It's not the case this time. So DZ are able to walk through that part of the map. It's been the slowest round so far, though we're only 3 in. Just a little bit over a minute remaining. The Lion Scan will gain some information. Panbazoo is on the hunt, but he's boxing shadows. His key is long gone before being finished off by NJR. DarkZero striking first in all 3 rounds so far. Though, in previous rounds, GK has kept it a little bit close. Not the case in this round. Technically, it was a trade in the previous round, but I mean...
Yeah.
Getting on the board first or at the same time.
No, I'll take those. I mean, it was a great collapse with 4 players from DC working together, but again, the time is so low now. 35 seconds, walls are still reinforced, they're Kite Trick and Trooper and Noodle. Still 3 of those canisters in pocket. DC, they gotta go for broke here, just push in that doorway. It's not gonna work out. Came downstairs through the hatch, finds head of Noodle as well. Now those walls might be opened up, but there's no time for DC. This dude's gotta go for broke.
The advantage that DarkZero had has been reduced to nothing at this point. Hashom with 2 kills. Nath giving the advantage back to DarkZero, but more work to be done. Hashom is last one left. Bolo on the board for the first time all match. Hashom with the sidearm out, turns his back. Bolo in hot pursuit. Nath is down. Bolo needs to win it. It's a game of keep away. And Hashom gets them all. Every single kill.
With the pistol, the runaway, the fadeaway, and saving the round for GK. Well, it wasn't pretty for a moment there, but he clutched up.
Hashom gets all 5 kills, and Ace and then types chop chop.
Chop chop.
In chat.
Oh, the LeBron effect, right? You talk your smack, and then it karma hits you really quickly.
We just need to...
That is such a reference.
Oh, I know Iconic loves that one. Yeah. LeBron effect. There we see it, the first kill. I mean, just the pre-fires, just first bullet headshots all the way throughout. And of course, the injure. 2 pistol kills in a 1v2. Not sure Diffuser was, probably on the office exterior door, I reckon, onto Nath, if I had to guess, because otherwise they could have gone for a plant, so we have to assume here that the Diffuser was not in DarkZero's control. The only logical play here in that scenario. But again, the wall's not being opened up for DC, forced them to a bad spot. You know, 1 doorway and piano double door, and 1 doorway on that office balcony. So no real good pressure points for DarkZero. They couldn't sit far back out of those long lines of sight. They had to push through close quarter combat, not knowing exactly where the members of GK were because they were so low on time. So strategically, a beautiful read from GK, going from round number 2 into round number 3, and they get the round, well, partly because of that, and of course, Hashom just stepping up for his team.
I always like seeing players who are relatively new to international competition start to pop off. So when you get players like GK who don't have a wealth of international experience, it really is great to see the growth in other regions and the growth of individually skilled players. GK will need more than Hashom to ace every single round if they want to be competitive in this matchup. Very first defense down below. Tomorrow being brought again, this time in the hands of Key. Didn't really see much of an impact from Noodle in the previous round, at least not that I did. I don't know if you can shed light on something that I might have missed.
No, you're right. I mean, he died pretty, not early on, but he died before anything really happened. But also, they kept the Kind Claws intact, so the Trooper wasn't needed for new wall deny. But as you said, Parker, it has many applications. Throwing it on like a regular floor will also slow any attackers down and just make it more difficult to take those gunfights. So there's still, of course, a ways to find it, if not for the walls themselves.
Again, DZ, very good at getting on the board first. Trix has had a rough start to this matchup. Because of that, GK finds themselves down a man with half of the round still to play out, and the Kaid as well, so you have to hope that Electric Claw is gone somewhere. Noodle is also gone, and so is Key, as Bolo and Panbazoo have found ways into the bomb site. Suddenly, Hashom mysteriously will need to retake. A 6th kill in a row for Hashom. so far has 7 on the match, looking for an 8th over towards Trench Door. All the while this is happening, DarkZero having GK's attention. It allows Canadian to get the diffuser down.
Attackers are active.
He'll get out of there. Along with the rest of DarkZero, now scrambling into the post play. Pambazoo over in Connector with a cross on Mysteriously, loses the gunfight, leaving GK with 2 members still to go. But DarkZero have that timer working in their favor. Another from Seriously. And now it's a Hashem to wrap around. Over towards Trench Door, he knows NJR is there, gets him, leaving Canadian in a 1v1, who's playing by blue. The jig is up. Hashem with that SMG. At close range, will decide to hop onto the diffuser. He has time to get off of it. He'll wait and hear if Canadian aggressiveness, which he does! And Hashem wins it again! 2 rounds in a row! Good grief! Tie game!
It wasn't even like DarkZero misplayed that. I mean, they were holding, you know, long angles far away that established somewhat of a crossfire, etc. But the shots that are being hit right now from Hashem and Seriously in that 2v3 or 2v4 is incredible. And just like that previous round, Hashem in the in-game chat will type chop chop after brutally clutching that round for his team. And again, I was gonna praise DarkZero, the off-pace play, pan down the nuke, just into the breach, goes to the backstab, and seemingly out of nowhere, DarkZero, they go for an execute. All DarkZero, so to speak, before Nathan Bolo, I feel like would have taken 20 seconds, 30 seconds extra, been very predictable, very slow, but they are quick right now to those punches. 1 minute 30 seconds, Panba's in the breach. It's 5 versus 2. How does it fall apart? Well, the shots that are being landed here, 1 and 2, that starts things off. You see Hashem is in G11, close quarter. I will say, not the greatest post-man position there from Canadian on the Thatcher. You're up against this G11 on a T5, high-fired weapons, and he's saying there, Troy, relax, calm down, too many things going on right now. So it looked good on paper, but when you can hit your shots, anything can happen. Now it's tied up 2-2. All of a sudden, this is gonna be a map. I thought DarkZero in the first 2 rounds were gonna run away with it, but it might not be the case. If GK can do the full bomb subrotation here, 3 in a row, going back to bars, a 3rd round, potential round victory in a row here, that'll be a great spot for them. Maybe they can show us that they figure things out, those weaknesses in the first 2 rounds, getting picked off early, etc. Or maybe, without those clutch moments, they wouldn't have gotten those 2 rounds. It'll be a forward for DarkZero. So they gotta show up now more than ever. Get that round advantage, and shows that they have learned from those previous 2 rounds.
We have an update on the match happening on the B stream. If you don't want spoilers, close your ears for the next 10 seconds or so. After a disastrous start that looked like all hope was lost, the Wolves pulled it back in map 2 and then prevailed in map 3 to topple Space Station 2-1. Quite amazing, given the fact that the Wolves almost lost to Fresh's Ranky stack.
Yeah, almost twice, in fact, actually. One match was overtime.
Did you play on that team?
I played one of the matches.
There you go.
We lost 5-7 on Nighthaven lap.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, we got slaughtered. It's a, you know, not slaughtered, but we you know, could have been OT.
Mm-hmm. Now back to bar, GK will go. And the things that we looked at from Atlanta for DarkZero here, because right now they're on attack. They're the ones who have the job to do. It's that, how does the speed of DZ's executes stack up to what we saw previously? And I think it's inarguable. They're much faster. Yeah. They look better. But GK are a terrific team from what we saw. Finished top 8 in Atlanta. Despite the fact that that was their first major international event, they have proven to be a force to be reckoned with. And obviously the changes to the team. The one change bringing in Seriously over, was it Leader?
Yeah.
Who played in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, but that was the question, right? Without leaders, the IGL, how is this team of GK going to adapt throughout? And so far, it has been pretty promising. When a minute ago, though, things will stop, but it's this time GK found an opening kill, shutting down DarkZero's initial entry and stopping that bomb side attack.
There's another shotgun pointed right at the window. If Canadian doesn't know what's about to hit him, he's gonna go down for the count! The Nitro goes out, but instead, it's Tricked to break the curse and get his first kill. Securing Nafe as Canadian will continue to bleed out. DarkZero tripped up on that window. Now it's NJR who's found his way into the bomb site. Goodbye, Tricked. Playing behind bar, NJR still in this position. Diffuser will need to be retrieved. That's the greater problem. But instead, GK are playing full court press. Bolo and NJR last alive. Bolo goes down to Noodle. And now it's NJR to clean up inside the site. He's got 2 kills. There's 3 more to be found. He himself will need to ace Only 10 seconds left.
10 seconds remaining.
No diffuser. Means no objective. NJR is in a very tough spot. They know exactly where he is, and it's seriously to clean things up. 3 rounds in a row for GK. They take the lead.
Very puzzling round. I mean, Canadian twice gets caught with a Candela in his hand, not ready for a gunfight. First gets injured, second time around he dies. But not just that, but 4 members of DarkZero are outside the bar gaming window essentially. Just gonna all in, you know, Lion, Yin Candela, jump in, go for a plant. That's like, you know, you can say it's a rush direct strat, but it seems more like desperation, where they couldn't problem solve around the round, they didn't have the answers. So then for the quote-unquote easiest solution, which is rarely the best solution, and this time around, GK, they're near the site, they're ready for it. Noodle, who often is roaming way off on the other side of the map, he was actually near the bomb site itself, ready for that confrontation, and DC, they didn't have any pressure elsewhere. If you have nobody killing default cameras, you know, in Solarium, you know, West Main, etc., as an attacker, you know as a defending team, hey, nobody's on the west-hand side, they must be on the east-hand side, something's wrong here. When no one's making noise around the map, you can pretty much assume as a defender, hey, they're gonna hit the bomb site straight on from, you know, the mud window or the actual bomb site window. That's probably gonna be it. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, NGR got into the bomb site, but Diffuser wasn't. Nobody was there to help him. That's the worst spot you can be in. You have half bomb site control, but you can't do anything with it. And with that, DarkZero now playing from behind, 2-3. If they win this upcoming attacking round, it'll be a tied half. But it's not looking too good here the longer this game goes on for.
No, certainly not. DZ had all the confidence in the world through those first 2 rounds. They looked as good as I think you could possibly say. But it's also worth noting that they've got, what was it, 6 kills in those first 2 rounds. He was single-handedly the reason for round number 2 going in the favor of DarkZero.
10 seconds remaining.
But man,
5 seconds left.
this GK team cannot at all
Shields ready.
be written off.
Objective is to defuse a bomb.
I don't know if you saw the content piece beforehand, but the players in the groups were talking about who they think they fear the most, and it was GK.
Interesting. I did not see that actually. But I mean,
It's because you weren't paying attention.
you build a reputation, right? You come out.
It's because you weren't.
I was actually here ready first. But if you do what you do in previous match of Atlanta, get top 8, you know, you're a scary looking team. Nowadays, teams will respect you. I think it's back in the day you had like a one good tournament, people are like, it was a fluke, you know, it's a one-man wanted team, whatever. But nowadays, because W7M started in a similar fashion, you have one good event, teams respect you because, okay, these guys could be the real deal. If you come from MENA with very little experience, you make top 8 in a major, you make the next major, there is something about you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, DZ having to bust a timeout in the first 5 rounds of their map is not, I think, what we had on our bingo sheet. But by the way, if you are following along, there is an official bingo sheet from Fresh.
The unofficial, official bingo sheet.
We've already had one of the categories checked off, so if you're playing at home, congratulations.
Which one was that?
It was the reverse sweep.
Oh, of course.
Another Tubaro, but so far, again, this operator, the newest operator out of the game, have really not seen a ton about this operator. We are what many people have called the second coming of the 20-second meta, because Tubaro really slows things down. Not in this match, though. I wouldn't say it's a slog by any stretch of the imagination. Key is the first casualty, by the way. Pambazoo breaching in with that buck. Control of the backside of Chalet over towards Trophy, but not the upstairs component. Canadian will now engage as Seriously is under fire in this spot. Moving now over towards the bathroom. He'll survive for the time being.
And much quicker as well. He got a full minute to work with. Basically got Solarium control, got the downstairs control. He can join the bomb side, Pambasu with the buck, do vertical destruction, or of course, walk up the Solarium staircase. The question now is for DarkZero, how will they get in towards the bomb side? They misshown the player, I think, in the master bedroom corner. I don't think they have the intel. Nope. He crosses in a safe position again. No one's on that big window repel. DarkZero missing a crucial position here to cut the bomb side in half.
They do flash Hashom, and NJR takes that spot that you had talked about. Is he aware of Hashom? Pambazu is. Down goes the best player so far for GK Noodle on the board. It's him and Trix. Try and stave off defeat in this round. Now it's just down to Noodle, who for yet another round is playing off-site.
Attackers activating diffuser.
The post-plant, GK will go. Well, GK just Noodle here. They pulled it off last time. Noodle will need 3 more kills as his Nitro Cell is good enough to remove Pambazu from action. There you go. The Zoto canister thrown out. On the floor, now it's Noodle to head over towards Solarium. Another canister to go, and well, at that point, you're down below. There's just only 2 ways up, really. You're going to go through main lobby at that point, or you're going to go through trophy. You opted to go through trophy. There was kill holes there. DZ just sat and waited. Far better post plan for DarkZero than what we witnessed when they went and attacked downstairs just a couple rounds before that.
Yeah, again, like BMs will go faster and change that pace, and of course, I want to see more of the Tubaru, but we just don't get to see it, unfortunately.
Is he being brought right now by DZ on there?
Oh, we got a call in.
Yep.
Oh.
The team manager of Geekay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello.
Awesome. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What was your game plan going to, against DarkZero right now? Was it about being aggressive or about being passive? Like, talk me through it.
Actually, now we will play aggro. Okay. The guys, they are even that DarkZero, they pushing us like so hard. I hope the player they will do a great job in next phase, like they will do. And I hope it's everything will go with us perfect in attack side.
Okay, so the first 2 rounds you guys played, like, you were moving a lot, you got shot in the back from DarkZero holding angles. Then in round number 3, things changed. Did you guys talk about possibly changing that up before the game, or did that happen just as the guys were playing?
Actually, they will like the player they will hello.
Hello? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. The player they will do their job, sure, and also they know what he will do right after tactical time. So timeout, sorry. So I hope the player they will do a great job. Even that Hashum he get 2 clutches in 2 rounds. So.
Okay.
I hope everything will be good with us.
No, that's perfect. Let's see if they do good again. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck to your team of Geekay.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect timing! Very first kill comes out. Sens on the board for the first time in this matchup. Seriously, with the leadoff kill, Canadian roaming on that Solus. Now, have to imagine that part of the reason why they brought Nathan in the first place was to allow Canadian to be cemented in that non-traditional support flex and roam role that he likes to play and has played on DZ. Obviously, this round doesn't work out. Keep an eye on it, though, to see if there's any changes to the roles with Bolo and Nath on the squad.
No, exactly that. And I mean, GK doing a great job of kind of like understanding what are the pressure points that we need to worry about. The Solus downstairs, for example, in that late round is a phenomenal thing to deal with early on. It buys them time, basically, so that when they get to the side, if they can get there, they don't have to worry about that any longer. And now, 1 minute 30 seconds left, opening up the bomb site wall. Noodles there with Key to support it, locking down those angles, and they got the glass. When this wall gets opened, only one thing can stop them. That's Bolo on the Warden. He's got a shotgun, doesn't have the MPX, so a weakened DC setup here.
So nice to see a Glass get brought. I am a big Glass fan. I think he's quite strong, especially in ranked, but obviously in a more coordinated level, you can bring different tools. You don't necessarily need a Glass. But you got smokes, you can see through it. That's what you got the Warden to do on defense, is to answer back. Key is dead, there goes the Thermite. Your singular hard breachers. Bolo goes massive. Panbazoo credited with the kills, though, before he's removed and NJR is down for the count. So don't let the number at the top deceive you. It is, in fact, a 2v2. The 2 newest members of DarkZero, but hold on a second. NJR has been brought back from the dead. So now DZ maintain that advantage. I wonder if GK heard the shotgun pump. Sure seems like they did. Noodle outside, disoriented, nearsighted by the Fenrir of NJR. Only 30 seconds left. A scramble and a small change. The diffuser had been walked into the bomb site and surrendered. So now GK will need to retrieve it. They do just that. The bomb site plant not on the menu, so instead let's run to A. That's what Noodle will go. Oh, it's him alone. Time and time again, Noodle finds himself as the last one standing. Will he be able to pull off the plant successfully? Yes. Now it's a post plant. By firing away, he's given his position away. This collapsed upon by NJR. DarkZero, 2 rounds in a row, and they win their very first defense.
3K, Warden Shotty. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw Bolo in the Warden, I was thinking, this is great. Then I saw the shotgun, I was like, yeah, you know what, against the glass, trying to plant a bomb site with that smoke coverage, the shotgun is really not what you want there. But the thing is, I think there was a small miscalculation from the side of Geekay, where they planted in a spot that was seeable by Bolo up above, and he found not just 1 kill, not just 2 and the glass, but the 3rd as well. So a huge positional play there from Bolo, but he had support. Nate von Castle in Master Bedroom had a long line of sight supporting him if he were to fall in a gunfight, but he just simply didn't need it. We'll have a quick tech pause, but of course we'll stay right with you here. We can talk about what happened in the previous round. See it here. Bad plant spot, essentially. 2 deep into the bomb site. Glass upstairs on the show, gets shut down immediately. So the entire strat here from Geekay falls apart. The whole win condition is glass with the sense and the smoke grenades. The plant, bang, you play far out the building, easy peasy. The moment the glass dies, it's not a good look for Geekay. The second the planter dies, well, things just start to fall apart and snowball out of control. But strategically, a very sound attack, just a very small thing was missed, and that was Warden up above. Shoulda, coulda, woulda droned it, but they didn't.
We have a tech pause right now, and we're not exactly sure what it is, but the culprits seem to be DarkZero.
I think it was Troy's in-ears of sound. Admin came over and like pointed at his ears,
Yeah,
and he's like, yeah, my ears.
Ears. Yeah, I saw that as well. The good thing for DarkZero is they're maintaining good spirits. Now, just from an outside perspective, go back and rewatch DZ during Atlanta. Both Gavin and Rice did not seem to be talking that much. And if you knew either of them in person and spoke to them in person, they both seemed like quieter people. Now, obviously, that can change in the server versus outside of the server. Some people come alive when you're in-game. Some people can level up. Hey, look at all those Ren Shiro clips of the man screaming and pounding the table. But outside of the game, he doesn't really say much.
No.
In this instance, both Nafe and Bolo are extremely talkative. Nafe has been talkative on all of his teams. Bolo's been talkative on all of his teams. So I have to imagine part of why you bring these 2 players in for DZ is not just because of their prowess in the server. It's their mental and their personality outside of the server, because it can't always be one person, in this case Canadian, doing all the calling. It can't always be one person telling them, hey, center yourself, get your head in the game. But if you got somebody like Nafe, you got somebody like Bolo, Bolo's always good vibes, let's be honest, it's going to go a long way to ensure that when things start to go bad, as they did during that first half, you can keep your head and maintain that level of composure so that you don't throw the game both in the server and
Yeah, that's the thing, like, you know, you build rookies, sure, but what about the veterans? DC, for a long time, they were like, oh, we gotta pick up young gunners, inexperienced players, try to teach them how to play the game, so to speak. But Nathan Bolo, they got experience. I mean, Bolo won the 6 Invitationals with TSM before they disappeared. So that alone has so much value in a different form than someone like Pambasu, who didn't know much about the competitive side of Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, I mean, DarkZero was looking at bringing in all these rookies over time. Rice was relatively inexperienced. NJR was relatively inexperienced. Pambazu was, you know, for a lot of people, brought out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But people know who Nate and Bolo are. So you bring in experience. Does it change the dynamic of the team? Well, GK is presumably a top 8 team in the world, as DarkZero is if we just go based off of Atlanta.
Yeah.
And right now, DarkZero are, at worst, competing on the same level with them.
Now it's a good look, and this time it's DC staying alive in the early round. It's Key off the board, and that's, you know, it's the Thermite, but there's a backup here. Tricks on Hibana. Yeah, he doesn't have the, you know, nicest scoreline right now, being 1-7, but that's not his worry right now. Get those walls opened up, figure out where the pressure point is going to be, because you can't spread yourselves too thin here in Shelly. That's never, that's rarely rather, a good look. So it looks to be a backside take, but they need to worry about the roamers first. They go top floor, break the soft floor, try and get that dining, kitchen control, etc. Work their way down, but time is kind of slipping. 1 minute 20. They've only cleared the very top layer of this entire building. The bomb side, well, it has reinforcements, Goyo canisters, those fenders, the Maestro Evil Eyes, etc. So many different tools to slow you down on the bomb side once you get there, and they still are dealing with the roam as well. Canadian up and alive, waiting for this gunfight. Left and right, 2 angles, but again, there's backup. Nave, again, the supportive cast, always helping the roamers.
Slow 2 rounds so far from GK. And, I mean, when you lose the Thermite early on, not all hope is lost because you got that Hibana. It was the Thermite that they lost first in the previous round as well, but I think at that point, the Thermite wasn't ultimately the big deal. Maestro cam set up earlier on will claim all the X-Kairos that were put on that wine wall, making it even more challenging for GK to get into this site. They're stacked up over the back of wine. They'll rush on in. There they go. Tricks taken down. Now it's Noodle next in, looking for a plant tucked away. Seriously is down, so again, it's Noodle last alive. Nave is the only casualty, but Canadian and Nave are there to get the final 2 kills. Technically, Nave hit the down on the Seriously, so it wasn't all him. Canadian gets the very final pick. And now, momentum very firmly in the hands of DarkZero.
Yeah, also, like, it's been a defender-sided invitational so far. Yeah, it's the second matchup of the day, but the first series, in both matches at least, very defender-sided, like 74%, I believe. So, not surprising to see, you know, DC coming out strong here in the side swap, but also what a phenomenal amount of depth in that previous round. The roam game top floor into first floor. They have also always had bar control from DarkZero. They had the Evil Eyes on the bomb side, the Goyo cannons, as I mentioned before, and the second that GK, they hit the side itself, they retook dining. So they're on the hatch, they're on the side, Maestro cams are sapping you, and the Hibana pellets as well. And that's something that we haven't spoken a lot of so far. Maestro actually got buffed not all that long ago. Instead of 2 Evil Eyes, those Maestro cameras, he's got 3 of them. And he's still got that LMG, tons of bullets, so I'm not surprised if we see a little bit of Maestro play here and there, but it does take what we call a genius to play it. But in GR, he is a bit of a genius. He's a quote-unquote support player, you know, he plans sometimes and does stuff, but he actually frags out relatively often. Right now, 11 kills to his name. He got the utility tonight with the Evil Eye, stabbing those X-Carrots away, held the bomb site down as well. There's so much value here in a single player for DarkZero, and GR is that person right now, and often is. Yeah, 11-3. The vibes are high for DarkZero, even the rounds they lost. And this is the thing about bringing in new players as well, that honeymoon phase that you go through, where you're building something new together and everyone's on their best behavior because, new people, you know, let's be nice. It's like when your parents, they have guests over, you know? You bring out your best behavior.
So, up in the top left, a quick stat for you. Through the first 4 maps of SI, defense has a 76% win rate.
Disgusting.
So the fact that DZ was able to go 3 for 3 in the first half should bode well for them. Of course, Chalet is historically more friendly to the attackers. The numbers go back and forth as to whether or not it's a defender-sided map. We did have that period of time where, if you'll recall, the defenders were pretty much better on almost every single map.
That's true. And of course, Tubaru and Chalet, I wouldn't say, based off my best guess, that it would be a very impactful operator per se, and I'm not surprised that we don't see all that much of it. That GK brought out twice, the gadget didn't really impact the rounds at all. DarkZero yet to do it. They're staying with their old, like, what they know, so to speak, and it's working for them. Why change it? But I will say, Canadian, no surprise here, has been playing an even bigger flex role than usual because Nave joining opens that up. He played the Ying, he's playing the Kaid, he's playing the Solus, but he is usually actively on the map looking for something like Canadian loves to do. And GK, they're struggling at finding a good entryway right now on the map. They're out to the building, opening windows, shooting those default cameras, and droning and droning and droning, but they're not really getting anywhere right now. And perhaps that's okay. When you got Brava and a Twitch, you can just kind of hack those gadgets, default cameras, deny intel, etc. Then later in the round, you've done the prep work, but the issue is you need to get a foothold somewhere and an initial starting point for your attack.
Timeout was taken by GK. Will they find some success off of it? So far, the answer is yes. Bolo with the bailiff out. A bit of a questionable choice, and Nafe goes down as well. That's second frag on DarkZero, so not exactly ideal. Good news, though. Both Nafe and Bolo's gadgets will persist, though keep in mind that with Fenrir's gadgets, you can juggle them with the phone. So whatever is activated will remain activated. You can't really change much beyond that. The Lion have seriously finally finished off, and now it's GK with a numbers advantage and a 4v3.
It's important that Canadian is like sole person on the side. He really has to hold on to his position. If he falls, that means the plant is very much present. They got the read there on the blue staircase. Fire goes out. Now Canadian isolated on site with Pemusu in dining hallway.
Staring down the smoke. No warden present for DarkZero. Don't really see much that will aid them through that smoke as the drones still continue to go out for GK. Dotting their I's, crossing their T's. Noodle walking up, excuse me. Neither NJR nor Canadian have their headsets on whatsoever because Noodle's able to assert himself on those garage stairs. 2 kills.
Oh.
Pambazu next in line to a show 'em, and we got a tie game, or we've got one step closer to a tie game, as it's 4 rounds for GK. All 12 rounds feeling very likely at this point.
I'm still curious what happened with Bolo there. Swinging in mud door with the bailiff secondary shotgun in hand. Not sure if that was like he was out of bullets or was like desperate for the trade, or maybe got the call, oh, this guy's reloading, like just go for it, no bullets left, whatever. But losing 2 members instead of just a single member, it really weakened the bomb site structure.
I have to imagine it's because if you know somebody's just vaulted in a mudroom, they're not expecting anybody to swing them right away, right? You're not expecting an immediate challenge. And in Bolo's defense, at that range, the bailiff is usually good enough to kill you after 2 shots.
Usually.
Yeah. The bailiff is also a relatively fast-firing weapon.
That's
so
fair.
you can get those 2 shots off pretty quickly.
Ooh.
That was just Noodle finding a blind spot and taking advantage of it. Got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's you know, blind spot for sure. One of those 2 members of Canadian India could have held that angle, but it wasn't communicated. The thought basement was clear, etc. It just wasn't. Those late round flanks really working out. And that's again, when you play the Bravo and you play the Twitch as in the previous round for GK, you deny so much intel from your opponent and you gain so much yourself. Odds are, without those 2 operators, that play might not have worked out because something would have been in their way on their path that would have stopped them from achieving that flank. Now things will change again. Now we see the glass, we see the OSA, things constantly shifting here for GK, keeping DarkZero in the dark as to where, well, where they're gonna go from, what's gonna happen, and what operators do they need. One thing is evident, Solis always great against GK so far in this matchup, as is the Warden. They love using smokes to deny lines of sight, stop the crossfires from being effective from DarkZero, and of course, you can plant more effectively if you have smokes, especially with a glass on the board. But the only downside of this lineup here for GK, they need like all 4 or 5 members alive. If anybody dies, it's a huge loss, either utility-wise or their primary gadget. So who's gonna do the entry duty? Who's gonna take the reins here and get stuff done? That's my big question. And they don't even have like a hard breacher nearby right now. Like x.ke has to rotate over, get that wall opened up, and then they can start working on office. But Bolo's there again, waiting on that office half wall for his fight to come.
Would you believe it that half the round is gone already now?
This has been fast.
It's been very quick.
And the issue last time has been fixed. They know where Bolo is, they got an active drone on him, and of course they lost to him last time in that position, so they know what to do this time.
Oh, the impact misses onto the Osta shield. Noodle gunning down Pambazoo, 3 players from GK at least stacked up over in that library hallway looking towards double door. Amidst the smoke, there's only 1 Warden and he's good as gone. GK sinking their fangs into DarkZero this round. Now, Trix falls, and DarkZero have to start getting some kills on the board.
Attackers have dropped
Got 1 minute to go. Noodle is heavily damaged. There's still plenty of utility here from GK. There's not a lot at this point that gives me hope for DarkZero, outside of the fact that NJR and Nath are the 2 best gunners at this moment from DZ. Other than that, GK has everything going for them.
Man, it's over, dude. Hashoma's just, oh my god, 3 kills in the rounds on the glass. Someone stop this, man. Boop, boop, boop.
Just popping up over the Osa shield. Small errors committed by DarkZero. Snowball out of control. That first impact onto the Osa shield. Oh, nice shot by Hashom there. It was earlier on in the round that really could have helped slow down that take that was coming in from GK on Library Hall. But when the impact misses, and then you have somebody immediately follow up, presumably on intel that the shield is gone, and there's 3 players there, you're not expecting a warm welcome by GK like that. And
no.
DZ got humbled in that round when they tried to be aggressive in response to the fact that after a minute and a half, GK assessed, hey, we can take some map control quite quickly. Let's do this. First half of the round flew by, and then GK lined him up, as cliche as it sounds. Now we have a tie game, and all 12 rounds will be needed. Both teams have used their timeouts, so it's just going to be a slugfest from here on out.
Yeah, and the big thing to note here is that the devil really is in the details. If that impact lands on the Osa shield, DC might not get a kill from it, but they will remove one of the two big obstacles that denies them that top floor control. It is so difficult to combat and also shield from far away because, you know, you can see each other, sure, but it's almost like, you know, a double-sided Blackbeard shield, where, yeah, if Osa doesn't, you know, take a peek, she can die, but at the same time, they have all the intel. They know exactly when to go for that swing. They have a better gun usually with that long-range scope. So Geekay, they've done a great job at utilizing different operators for what they want to accomplish right now. This is arguably the weakest lineup that we've seen from them so far in terms of like utility. Yeah, they got soft breach, they got the ram on seriously. They can break the floor apart in a lobby in about 5 seconds if they want to. But for the bomb set itself, there's only smoke grenades and Bravo from Ashom. This time, no glass. There's no, you know, frag grenades this time because, like, that's not a thing anymore, right? That got nerfed to the ground. So they don't have a lot of ways in besides going for gun kills. And that hasn't really been their biggest strength so far in this matchup.
I think that's one thing that hasn't really been mentioned that much, and I didn't really hear it on the other broadcast, though I'm sure it was probably brought up at some point. And it's that with the changes to the nades not being able to be cooked, they have essentially fallen off the earth. It's as if grenades don't even exist.
Basically, yeah.
Additionally, DZ are running with all reliable. Despite the fact that GK went 3, maybe 4 rounds with Tubaro, DarkZero hasn't used him once.
No, they haven't. And to be honest, the way they're playing, I don't blame him. I would like to see more utility like Maestro again, but this time seriously finds the opening kill onto Pambasu, who's had a bit of a silent game, I would say, quiet for him at least. 6 and 9, no big stand-up moments I can recall, and just really not finding his stride in those gunfights, usually falling pretty early on.
This is where everything gets real quiet and real tense. And North American fans in particular are hoping that it won't be a repeat of previous events where the team's early struggles do not allow them to catch up, and NA as a region just tuned out. Yeah, obviously the previous matchup that we saw on the other stream with SSG, NA fans not particularly happy about that one. DarkZero on their own map getting pushed to the brink by GK, and you mentioned the RAM, and this is exactly why.
So quick, so efficient, and this thing, you get so much line of sight onto the bomb side.
Before Ram was an operator, Fuse was actually used a couple times to do this. You'd throw a cluster charge upstairs on that balcony, it would go down and blow up the entire floor and completely clear out whatever shelter you had for the defenders in the bomb sites.
That's a good point, but now the way in forward for GK, or walk down the staircase, they don't have a lot of presence here, and they lose a player as well to Canadian. It's a 4v4 now with 25 seconds left. They gotta go.
Now Hisham will throw out the smokes. He'll get challenged and immediately pre-fires it. Through the smoke, no real information. Now it's Bolo on the flank to cut down Hisham. He's not alone, he's got Canadian with him, and there you go. The raid boss of GK removed from action, but now a flank as well from GK. Everybody's rushing in, time running out. Noodle getting the plant down, but has to bail off of it. Time about to run out. Bolo and Nafe, the final 2 kills. And it's map point for DarkZero.
The blue staircase became a blender. 4 people, they fall back to back to back to back. And it looks so funny because, well, GK, they push down the staircase. What do you know? Right behind them, 2 DarkZero members. They get that initial kill. GK, they try and flank it back in their control. They get shut down. Then DarkZero, they say, you know what? We got blue control. I'm going to go back up to lobby. Then he dies on the blue stairs too. 4 members. Just like that. The entire round defined in that small area off the bomb side. And this was the issue that I spoke of earlier. Yeah, you got vertical destruction, you got 1 set of smoke grenades on the Brava, but they don't have any real way to break apart the bomb side or establish a plant or bomb side control. No Osa, no Monty, no glass, and the smoke grenades, they were on blue staircase. They couldn't go in from the primary breach. They didn't fully lock down the flank in the room clear, so they got flanked late round. So GK, they have this big painting that they want to approach and say, you know what, make a sky, make an ocean, make some trees, but they're missing some of those small details. The tree has no leaves, right? Nothing's growing on that tree. So I like what they're trying to accomplish, but there are a couple of small gaps, and perhaps, you know, with Leader not being here this time to help them, maybe that was his job. Maybe he was the guy that was like, you know what, nitty-gritty details, make sure we have this covered, guys. Otherwise, great plan.
I know there's going to be a lot of eyes on Bolo because he is one of the biggest figures in all of Rainbow Six, not just as a player, but also as a content creator. I mean, for those that are maybe a bit old, they don't remember what it was like when Bolo was underage. All the, do you think Bolo will go pro, etc. I mean, the man popularized quick leaning, for God's sake, which completely revolutionized the game for a period of time before, of course, the game then got changed, so it was slower. And as much as the spotlight will be on Bolo, I really want to give the spotlight to Nave. This is a player who I think, unless you are a very big EU fan, he flew under your radar. Because he never really played on an amazing world-beating team, despite him being so good on all the teams he played.
Yeah.
He's always been an instrumental figure in those teams succeeding, and now he brings his talent to DZ, and I think what we can argue is the largest spotlight of his own career. It's nice to see him immediately acclimate to DarkZero and not have any major stumbles so far.
I mean, the biggest thing is when you're a player is that if you have like a good start to a tournament, no matter if you're a new player or an old player on a team, just get like your first kill at the 6 Invitational. If that can come in the very first round or two, you're gonna be so happy about that because you're not gonna build that doubt in your mind. Oh, come on, like, what's wrong? Get going, you know, whatever. You gotta have that confidence. Nave, he's got that in the first 2 rounds, got like 4 or 5 kills, and he's held his own so far, 10 and 8. GK with more utility, got the Nomad, they got the Capital, things are going out. There's a fake smoke, try and bait a reaction from DC, it works out, they get that open and kill, and Key has found the gap, a weakness in the defensive lineup right now. He's inside lobby, and because Twitch on the board, we know that they Twitch tapped that camp early in the round. DC, they have no active intel on that position. And if Key can find the right spot, the right moment, he can definitely get 1 or 2 more kills and create chaos on the side of DC. Right here, the timing. They got the read, but Canadian falls off.
Well, oh, I don't know if Key meant to drop, but he's fallen through towards Connector, and Canadian now has 2 separate players from GK in his sights. Doesn't matter, Key wins the duel. Meanwhile, Hisham falls to Nave. Nave with very limited HP. Looks like he'll retake from above, but he looks away. There's somebody upstairs, top library stairs, that he needs to be very keenly aware of. Now Key's dropped. It's a 3v3 Nick. All hell will break loose, and suddenly DarkZero is punishing GK. Tricked with a single kill so far through this map, will end it with 1. It was scary through the midway portion of this map, but DZ sticks the landing and ultimately wins 7-5 on their map.
They retake so many rounds, they give up something, they take it back with 2 or 3 members, and it's a new look for DC. These roster changes, maybe the fundamentals being a bit altered. So far, a good look, but GK definitely put up a good fight. 7-5 is not a bad way to go out in your first map in a best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, a great first look, but you did start on your own map. So let's see what happens when Consulate shows up next, because that could be a completely different ball game for DZ. Nighthaven Labs would be the tiebreaker. Will we need that? That's familiar territory for DarkZero. They love that map.
Yep.
They could very easily lose Consulate and then go on to win. But let's not theorycraft. We'll go to Consulate in a few minutes, but first a break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to SI 2024, where we've just seen an absolute nail-biter between DarkZero and Geekay, with DarkZero coming out on top. We had a lot of questions, Anne, about both of these rosters, their playstyle and their behavior that's going to be on the server, and we have a few answers out now.
Yeah, a few answers, but I feel like we still might have a few questions, right? It's only been one map. We've seen a very close one between both these two teams. I reckon that especially DarkZero had a really good start. Nath, especially, I think it was 5-1 after a few rounds, really having a solid start for himself. Their post plans in most of these rounds seemed really decent too, except for round 3 though, where Hasham decided to put a break onto that. He went absolutely massive. And one thing I really enjoyed seeing after that was the player games, and you could literally see the relief on Hasham's face. That's what it at least felt like. Like, okay, we can win these rounds, we can take down these players. And that's why I feel like the kind of momentum on who is leading a dance shifted, because you could see that the GK players are playing way more in the faces of the DarkZero players.
Yeah, the confidence from GK started shining through. Might not have been enough to actually close this one out, but that is a scary position for DarkZero as well to be in, because we're going to be heading on to their mapping. A lot of things to unpack here. I want to start off with you, Ollie, in terms of looking at DarkZero. We had questions whether or not there would be changes up in their styles once they're coming here onto SI. We haven't seen them play in a while. They've had 2 massive pickups as well in terms of Nate as well as Bolo. So has anything changed for them when it comes to how they're executing things?
I think it looked like it definitely changed. You know, it was a shaky start there for DarkZero. I think there was a couple of rounds there where Bolo took a little bit of a long time to get in. I know that there's going to be a lot of pressure on this player just because it's Bolo and you want to know when he plays and what he is doing inside of the server. But he got himself warmed into it. That very easily could have been a 7-3 if it hadn't been for Hasham. And Hasham, for me, was one of the players that stood up for GK, and that's what you need. You need those hero plays that people can get around. But fortunately, DarkZero managed to rein it in a little bit, and they kept really good control of a lot of those early rounds.
Communication seems to be pretty solid as well. When we were listening to the last few rounds, these players talking to each other, it felt like there was a pretty general direction, a lead into that team, but players are also listening, communicating very well. I'm glad to see, for example, Nate not necessarily being put on a leash, or he's really put in control and people are telling him exactly what to do. He's got these plays that he can make by himself, which is really nice to see too. So it's good to see this kind of play style come out from DarkZero, and despite it being close on that first map, it was their map pick. And the only times we've seen it from GK was against teams in their own region, so maybe they haven't had the kind of international experience on a map like this one that, for example, DarkZero definitely have.
Something that I wanted to comment on is who's the entry for DarkZero, because everyone's getting involved. We've got Nath, we've got Pamba, we've got Canadian. Everyone's at NJR as well. Everyone's having a little bit of a taste of that entry engagement. And sometimes you look at the lineups that they're bringing on the attack. They're bringing like 1 hard breach and just flex operators. They're not necessarily playing into that meta of bringing that entry and having someone drawn in. It seems very flexible. It seems like whoever is in that right position is going to get the opportunity, and it can take a little bit of the pressure off sometimes.
Yeah, overall impressed with both rosters, and I think expectations that we had from both of them have been to a certain extent met. And I think especially when I look at this time around on GK particularly here, and because when we were looking at GK, we're coming into this matchup, we even heard the coach from DarkZero say, oh, that could have potentially just been a Cinderella run. It might not be easy to replicate, but I think the fact that they were able to bring this to such a close one, not even on their own map pick, to me that shows signs of life.
It does, but you have to also remember, for some players, they don't have this much international experience as the players on the side of DarkZero have, right? And that's when you can literally see that relief on the players' faces, how they started to play way more confident. That's something I would like to see continue into that second map, because when DarkZero played another MENA team during Copenhagen, we mentioned that MENA sometimes can really play into your face. They can really try and push you from when you're not really watching, and that was a concern we had for DarkZero then. So I'd hope to see that again, GK here can bring that playstyle where they're really pushing into DarkZero's face and leading that dance in regards of who's taking the engagements.
Yeah, we've seen that from them so far. So again, going on to their own map pick, which is going to be Consulate, will be a really interesting feat to see. Just a reminder as well in terms of the picks and bans that we're having through Consulate being GK's pick. So that does give DarkZero the opportunity here, Ollie, to pick their side. I guess we're assuming they're going to go for defense.
There was a stat that popped up, wasn't there, during that first match? Like 60-odd% out of the game so far played. Was it 76?
Yeah.
All have been defender favored rounds. So we had that sort of an inkling. But moving into Consulate, there's a lot of opportunities on this map. I think there's still a really exciting brand of Siege that can be played here. We saw a lot of Ying play previously. We saw a heck of a lot of Glaz play as well. GK really not afraid to be bringing the Ossa, bringing the Glaz, using those tools. Even if a Warden is up, they're happy to go and challenge it. Sometimes it doesn't work out because Bolo picks for 2K with the shotgun, but there are other times when it works a little bit better. And I think that that's what GK want to really sort of lean into here. The thing that they can hold the head high with is that they took it really close on DarkZero's old map pick, albeit it was down to hero plays. But we take those hero plays.
Yeah, we
do. We hate that hero sometimes.
I'd take it if I were GK in that case, for sure. But looking at this map as well, console, I feel like this is where the international experience might come into play as well. DarkZero have played this map only against NA teams since September, so only in their own region against teams that they're familiar playing with. But then for GK, same goes for them. They've only played this map against Triple Esports, I think, and the Saudi E-League was a full-on overtime as well. So both these teams have experience in their own regional map, but not against an opponent from a different region.
Yeah, also really important to keep in mind here as well that for GK, this is their chance to keep MENA into the competition for a little bit longer. Like, yes, there's Falcons, but at the end of the day, only 2 MENA teams are competing here, and this is going to be their map pick. So will DarkZero make this a quick 2-0, or will GK hold on for dear life and push it to the decider? Let's find out as we're heading over to our caster to break down map 2.
Well, Consulate is maybe not as much of a well-known map as Chalet because of the rework. So when we look at Consulate as the second map between these teams, and it being GK's map, I think we are in for quite a showing. Map number 1 was as close as it can be without going to overtime.
Yeah.
So Consulate, maybe the same thing?
Yeah, and also like Chalet, like, it's like kind of like Oregon. Any team can play it usually. Like your defaults are defaults, and the way it plays in ranked and comp are pretty similar. Consulate is like, either you can play this map, or you kind of suck on it. That's how I tend to find it. So DC, they gotta show that they got the homework prepped for this because this is not their map.
No, and I will say, back in the early days of Pro League.
How early?
When we used to, well, like 2017.
Okay, that's
2017, 2018, when we used to cast Brazil from Poland. Remember that the Brazilian observers in Brazil would pipe the feed to us. So it was entirely in Portuguese. And I'd always remember when they'd start this map and they would always go, Consulate. Always stuck in my head.
Oh boy.
And we were in Brazil. So that is why I am bringing it up. DarkZero prevailed 7-5 on their own map of Chalet. Obviously, they had some big roster changes. Are they going to continue a hot, quote-unquote, streak? Because GK made them work for it. It wasn't that easy. Consulate's a different ballgame. It's GK's map. GK's going to be starting on attack, DarkZero on defense. We really didn't talk a lot about operator bans back in map number 1 because I didn't think they actually had that much impact. Do you see anything so far through Dokkaebi and Montaigne being banned out? Dokkaebi, by the way, was banned in number 1 as well. Do you see anything immediately that jumps to mind?
I mean, you gotta speak of the Monty, right? Like, DarkZero, they're not known to play a ton of Monty, but Canadian does have the occasional time where he does bring it out, but he's not like what I would say like a fantastic Monty player. He does it because he has to. He's not... Oh, but how do I bring this to Parker? Kino is no longer an active player because of his Monty.
He's here.
I know.
He's here in Brazil, by the way.
We can't keep talking about Kino.
He's
it's rude.
I didn't want to sound rude, but when I saw Kino, he was getting food for M80.
Yeah. Oh no.
He said something like, "I'm the analyst / like errand boy."
Oh man. Oh, I hope he lands his feet in a different team as an active player.
Nick, what is it like single-handedly getting Kino kicked off of M80?
No.
For excoriating him over his Monty play. What do you mean we did that? You were absolutely the aggressor in that situation.
Okay,
I was along for the ride, and I antagonized you.
You're like Robin to my Batman. You're certainly helping me get that done. That's for sure.
You're the Batman?
Yeah, I'm the...
First and foremost, iconic.
I am the Knight. That is iconic.
Batman is iconic as Batman.
Okay.
I was waiting last night for the iconic Batman tweet.
Oh, and it came this morning, right? Or this night? Yeah.
It's like a picture of like Gotham.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it's time.
Good luck, W7M. Which, by the way, we are casting them.
Yep. Seconds left before
I don't know what's happening with my voice there. This is what happens when you don't cast for 3 months. We are casting M80 versus W7M later today in the very final matchup here on the A stream. I'd like to remind everybody that the B stream is ongoing as well. Currently, Lynx and Stokes are casting over yonder, literally just a few feet away from us, maybe some meters if you don't know what feet are. But stay with us because, you know, we're better.
It's hard. We're hard.
Sorry, Lynx, but I'm better than you. Okay. You think you're better than me? I sure am. Look at this! Hashem on Amaru already in the building. Now, not near the bomb site because the bomb site's on the first floor and lobby, but they've managed to open up the wall on the top floor. Got what looked like Hashem was in yellow.
Yeah.
Oh, still there. Oh, Bolo doesn't know. Bolo doesn't know. Bolo's dead.
can't win that. That's an impossible gunfight to win.
Let me use the Bolo word. Unfortunate.
That is what he would say there, isn't it? That Nalara, I'm dead. Unfortunate. Now Bambasu, struck with a bit of fear, knows that yellow staircase, not the place you're gonna be against a shotgun when it's up against you. And Geekay done a great job here. They get that early pick and they slow things down. The way you can look at kills in Siege, like when you get a kill, you're taking it by some time on the clock because there's less opponents against you, less things to deal with. So you just buy yourself 20 seconds, take it slow. Panda makes a bunch of noise, but it's his teammate that goes down first of NGR. He got baited, but Panda gets the trade 1-for-1. Feels bad if you're NGR, feels kind of funny if you're Pambasu.
Pambazu's got information on those drones, still playing safely on yellow stairs because, well, you can't shoot through those floors whatsoever. Might like to reaggress now, heading back up to the top. The track stinger's out now as well, and this...
A grenade!
I was gonna say, is this the first time that we've seen a frag grenade be used?
It almost killed Canadian.
It did. It did some damage to him. He manages to get away. That's not Canadian, that's Bolo. That is, however, Pambazu.
That's bad luck. You run past the barricade. Oh, the flank? No way.
He might be able to pull this off. He's just a little bit slow. Wary of what might be below him, but just cannot outduel Gridlock. The F90 is a formidable gun. Now it's all up to Nafe and Canadian, both members of FBI on the Pulse and the Castle. Canadian on Pulse, be able to give information and continue to call it. But man, oh man, this is going to be a tough job because there's still an IQ on the board for Geekay.
Yeah, it was a big loss to lose Pambasu upstairs. He had vert control, could see the bomb side, and might even gotten that kill into Sirius in the Gridlock, but now it's 2v4 instead. Canadian downstairs at C4 in pocket could maybe get something done, but he gets the scanner out instead, sees the flank opportunity, but has to win the gunfight. Tricks planting, gets off it, gets one kill, it's 2v3, favoring Geekay.
Key needs to get in there. Diffuser in the hands of Noodle. Time running out at this point. Key eliminating Nafe. Canadian can stop this in his tracks, but he needs to pick the right target. Where is the diffuser going down for Noodle? Canadian seems to have an idea. Gets tossed up, and he gets Noodle, but literally the second that the diffuser goes down, he's given his position away. They know he's lurking down below. Could be impactless kills now as Canadian will tussle on that first floor. It's a keep away as a flash goes out, but it misses Canadian still with his eyesight. Seriously and Key will now watch what appears to be the only way in towards the site for Canadian, and it's Seriously to get the kill. Geekay starting off with a victory in round one.
Would have been a beautiful C4 to win the round with 0 seconds left. And Troy, I'm not sure if they had like a bit of missed intel or he just like doubted the situation there. We saw he put out the scanner, he saw a member to his left, didn't see the guy actually planting to his right. So he wiggled back and forth, maybe thinking, okay, sound says one direction, but the scanner said another. And just that split second of doubt, the hesitation, it cost him that round victory. But otherwise, a beautiful C4 attempt. Pambasu dying earlier upstairs inside of CEO. That could have changed the outcome of the round as well. Very small things not going their way, but it's Geekay just early round, Amaro in the building, getting a lot of map control established and doing that good old take from they're everywhere. They breach the meeting walls, they're in yellow stairs, they have a person in the basement early on, they open the castle barricade with a grenade who almost takes down Canadian. They were just really fighting from every single distance. Look at this. He just gets it planned.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
It's like half a second or something. And I mean, I do love to see Canadian on the pulse though. It's such an iconic operator for him and of course one of the most experienced players on that particular operator throughout time.
If you're wondering why we are not in the game, there's currently a tech pause. Both teams have lost at least one player. I'm not sure what the reason is for it, but they are slowly rejoining the lobby.
It's the calm before the storm. So, you know, some...
You're not technically allowed to talk during technical timeouts, so I think a word here or there is fine, but you can't calm. There's no strategies that can be discussed.
Don't believe so, no.
I love that Geekay is running the low spanner, by the way. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good, right? Also,
run the banner of the team that knocked DZ out of Atlanta.
And it's like a fire. It's like we're on fire as well. It's like when you get commendated in Siege, you get that fire emblem next to your name. It's like that.
It was the logo they used when they were Los 1, if I remember correctly. Remember when Team 1 merged with Los?
Yeah, I believe you're correct.
Be interesting to see how Los does at this event. Runners up at the Atlanta Major for those that watched our most recent LAN event, which was all the way back in November. Very reminiscent of their run through Mexico, where a team that didn't seem like they were even going to make it out of their group suddenly explodes and performs admirably. I mean, when you got a team that's got both Loban and Maya on it, you can never really count out that team. It doesn't matter. You could put 3 of me on the team. And I honestly think that Maya could carry my sorry ass through the match.
Might be possible, actually. And it's funny because
You're supposed to hype me up there. You're supposed to
I'm sorry,
shut
but
me down. You're supposed to hype me up. You're supposed to be like, no, dude.
You know what? We should get the meme invitationals going again, and you can prove your worth to me, to everybody else. Live on broadcast. Okay, then.
For those that are unfamiliar with the history behind it, DarkZero got humiliated on their second map against Los, losing 7-0, and then were bounced out of the Atlanta Major as Los went on that miracle run, the second time that organization has done that. They went on a miracle run back in Mexico when Alimao was on the team.
Yep, that was his upbringing. Against G2, him and Lagonis had a 2v5 clutch, and next thing you know, Alimao is flying to Europe to join G2, who he beat out of tournament prior.
See, what he did was he invested in Team 1. And then he withdrew his savings and spent it on a ticket to Europe to go join G2.
Very nice.
And now, Carl was in action earlier today. For those that didn't watch the matchup, it was on stream. Immediately preceded this match. For those of you that don't want to be spoiled, close your ears for the next 3 seconds. G2 prevailed. It's a 2-0.
Yep. Clean victory over NIP.
G2 up.
G2, yeah, that's the way they go. 7-2 G2 or G2-0. And this round, however, is very G2 slow, you should say, although no G2 in it. Half the round has been burned. G2, I mean, it has been a slow round. Like, you know, it's a basement hold from DarkZero. They're holding just the basement portion itself. They got like Canadian Peppers doing like Spiral Staircase, etc. But this is a full one-sided take pretty much from Geekay. 4 members on the backside, 1 person holding that yellow stairs rotation for any like support to come from the roamers. This comes down to the early engagement. Opening kill here, very important. Seriously, on the grim can use those Bs, get live, you know, red pings on their defending team, and then try and get some kills going. But it's gonna be like a proper blender situation. The second they step 1 foot too far forward, there's gonna be 2 or 3 guns from DarkZero, gunning them down. It's not an easy position to find yourself in if you're GK in this round.
Oh, shotgun out, and he can hear it. He swings on the key, but he's a little bit too slow. Panbazoo wasting those smoke canisters, wasting one of the most valuable anti-plane operators you can think of. Good news for DarkZero, they've still got Nafe on the Echo. But
do you need to swing that?
Up is important. I mean, I don't think swinging it was a terrible idea, but oh no! Now you've lost the Echo too. Post plants, or at least the execute, will not be in the favor of DZ. With 2 of their best denial operators removed from action. Seriously is dead. Bolo will swing. Good enough for 1. He knows somebody else is there. Losing the duel to Noodle. Only 20 seconds remain, and it's a 2v2. Good enough time for an adrenal surge by Noodle as he and Ashom will march their way to the bomb site. DarkZero doesn't need to move a muscle. NJR isolated from above. Canadian now will look over top of it. He's got some pings as well, not on the pulse, but on the Solus. So he'll still have information. He can't see where that diffuser is being planted, and as he drops, he has no information. He's also blinded completely. The play now by Yellow Pillar, by the bomb chassis. Out goes an impact.
Injured.
Gets the injury on Hashom. Now it's him and Noodle in a 1v1. No adrenal surges remaining, so Hashom cannot be retrieved unless Noodle goes and does it manually, which at this point in time, it's unlikely. So Canadian will need to hunt for the last member of GK and then get himself over to the diffuser. But Noodle's positioned in such a way where Canadian will have to fake attempt it. And here it comes. Noodle will look for the swing, but good patience. Canadian falls off. Noodle not giving him what he wants. And it's too late. Kill or no kill. The round was going to GK either way, but Noodle just makes it official before the timer hits 0. 2-0 for GK.
GK both opening kills in both rounds, both plants and both, you know, post plants being held successfully. And it really comes down to details now for the other team. It's DarkZero that are missing out on small things. And this is where I want to make a direct comparison to old DarkZero, aka, you know, previous last 2 majors, versus current DarkZero, where I feel like in the past, Pamazoo probably wouldn't have swung that because the mentality is if you smoke a Toxic Babes, you gotta stay alive. Current DarkZero, they are playing more loose, and it really worked out for them on Chalet. But when you're Pamazoo in this position and you shotgun Key in the back, taking off the vast majority of his health, you can be happy with that. He's 1 HP. That's not gonna matter in the long run. Like, you can take that fight later. There's 50 seconds left, and the thing is, it's like the dominoes effect. The second Pamazoo dies, they lose Crossfire on the spiral staircase. Then Nave is alone. Nave dies, they lose the bomb site pressure itself. Then it comes down to the flanker or the roamer of Canadian. So one person stepping out of line a little bit too early or dying in a spot that he shouldn't die in, it has a really big immediate negative effect for everybody else. That's why it's kind of a big deal. If Pampa sits back, uses those Toxic Babes, just like relax a little bit, you're gonna stall out GK. They weren't really problem solving anything, but by running into them and dying, you pretty much give them the answer that they didn't know that they had as an option because you just hand it over. DC are now down 0-2. We gotta see them have their mental in check. And the vibes have been good on Chalet even when they were losing. So far, they look quite alright as well. But it's a slow start from them, and especially Pamazoo, who's not had a great game so far in this first best of 3.
It's been a slow start, but I mean, go back to Chalet. GK looked quite bad in those first 2 rounds, if you remember. Then they won the next 2, and it was a completely different ball game from there on out. In fact, they won the next 3, which is what prompted DZ to use their timeout so early on. Pamazoo in tough position. That was probably bad information, but goes for a little do-si-do, the run out, the hop back in. Noodle is happy to greet him, and it's 3 rounds in a row where GK has struck first.
Yeah, I mean, he was isolated, didn't have anybody on that half the map, and I don't think DC has enough intel right now to make conscious decisions as to where should we be going, where is it safe. And this is the issue. The Valkyrie was banned away from GK, so they played the Pulse. That's a good kind of solution to this, but Pulse's range and how much intel you gather is much more limited than that of Valkyrie, so they clearly don't know the majority of the map, what's actually going on. And that's what gets someone like Pamazoo in a bad position there. Solis, pretty crucial in this round, right? This Archive still has bomb site. You deny the bomb site with the C4s. They got 3 of them. They swing now 2 people on the staircase, evening back to a 4v4. That's a good way to come back into the round. Now, strategically, DC, 3 C4s in pocket, Pulse scanner. They want to deny this upstairs bomb site by playing below. GK got 1 minute and 10 seconds to figure out how to actually get a plant established or try and go downstairs and pick some kills apart and try and figure out a gap in this bomb site, because right now, they're just... Okay, he won the gunfight. I thought he was going to get slaughtered there.
Rough start for DZ across the board. Not a ton of bright spots so far through these rounds. But I will say getting rid of Hashom is likely a sigh of relief with how he played in the previous map. He hasn't been the star so far through this consulate yet. Noodle yet to die is striking. Can he survive yet another round? Seriously has 2 players lined up. He gets them all. Nafe eliminating Seriously, almost kills himself with his own Nitro cell. Plant goes down. Nafe down below. I smell a timeout from DZ after this round.
I could see that as well. I mean, something's not quite right here. Nafe, looking for the 1v3.
What do you do here?
I mean, you look and you die.
5-0 for Noodle, by the way. No deaths through 3 rounds. You pointed it out after the 2nd round. Diffuser down, first blood drawn.
Yep.
Other than maybe an ace or a flawless round, it can't get much better than that for GK. They're doing excellently. DZ are not calling their time.
Oh?
You got it.
And as you say that, Parker, they call their tactical time.
9 seconds left. No timeout called. Haven't heard in our ears it was timeout. I'm like, okay. They're not. And literally as that happens, the DarkZero timeout stretches across our screen.
But you were still right, because you said this surely is the time for them to do it. And you're right.
Look like more of a clown than my hair does.
And that's saying something.
How dare you?
I mean, you had a phenomenal clown cosplay at the previous Major of Atlanta.
Wasn't even wearing a wig. That's my natural hair.
That's the best part. All you need is a nose and like some colors on your costume. That's it.
I remember this is a funny story now as they go through this timeout, and then we'll talk about this after the fact. So my makeup was like worse things. It was so hot.
Yeah.
It was so hot in the studio in Atlanta. I guess that's why they call it Hot Atlanta. And then we decided to go to an even hotter place by coming to Sao Paulo.
Yep.
Which for me as a Canadian, and I'm sure you also as another northerner,
it's warm.
I'm not used to these heats. Not used to this heat, but my makeup was just slowly getting worse. And I was like, oh, like we'll do it as a bit. Like the whole point is that like I'm deteriorating. and somebody came up to one of the makeup artists, and they're like, you should go touch up his makeup. Do you see it? Like, he looks so bad. What's going on here? What are you doing to him? And they're like, we're not doing anything. That's just what he has done.
Yeah.
And they're like, what have you done? They didn't do anything. Okay, that was all me.
But the makeup artists, they loved it. They loved it.
They loved it. Except for the fact that the red didn't come out of my mustache for like a day. That's terrible. That's terribly unfortunate place for that color to be applied. Either way. Timeout. Now finished. Round started. GK. 3-0. What are you talking about if you're DarkZero?
Yeah, so there's two angles here. Either it's about settling the nerves here, it's like you feel like there's some things that are, you know, not going the right way, or it's about explaining people like, hey, like, remember guys, like, this is the situation. We got 2 new players. We're here to like obviously win, but like have fun with it. These are the problems, etc. And I imagine that if you're DarkZero right now, you're gonna tighten up a bit, play close together. Don't make those like a little bit like overly aggressive mistakes, or if you are going to make those aggressive plays, do it together. Take your nearest body weight and say, hey, I'm gonna swing this guy. I want you to help me. And we're seeing immediately a very big operator lineup change here. The Fenrir, the Kai, the Warden, they're gonna play in-your-face style siege with good guns, where they can take those gunfights comfortably and try and lock GK out of the map for as long as possible. And when they step forward, they will just take the fight to them. It's not about util anymore. It's about enabling those good players of DC to take the fights.
DarkZero need to get on the board first. They need to show some level of confidence and competence, frankly, on this map, which has not been the case. GK, excellent at finding the first advantage, the first little misstep by DarkZero, punishing it, going from there. And time again, we see GK exploiting the fact, both on Chalet, but also here, more successfully here on Consulate. There are times where DarkZero is just not aware of GK's advances. Now it's Nave to get softened up quite severely, in fact. Still alive, but very worse for wear. Noodle's first death will come in the 4th round at the hands of NJR with about half of the round to go, just a little bit less. DZ have the best start to a round so far on console.
Yeah, and I'm watching the top-down viewers right now. DC are not moving unnecessarily. They're not swinging aggressive gunfights. Canadian is, of course, roaming and immediately gets shut down. As I say that, Hashom on the armory shotgun is just impossible to stop on that yellow staircase. But besides Canadian falling, it's been a very disciplined and tight round for DC. GK, they can't seem to find any openings or any gaps to abuse right now. It's seriously in the flank. The other 3 members working at lobby portion of the map.
DZ wants to take these gunfights, though. They're not allowing GK to establish any map control unless they earn it. And GK is fighting tooth and nail for that. DZ have lost out on a number of those gunfights across the 3 rounds. This time, though, a sluggish round in terms of kills. 8 players still alive with only 30 seconds left. Diffuser in the hands of Key. Seriously still looking for another opportunity, and he misses the silhouette of 1 player. Down goes Seriously. Trix trades NJR off before Bolo eliminates Hashom, so they will come to blows, largely spread across the map. Key still with that diffuser while Trix will watch over top. Beautiful shot on to Bolo, not good enough to get Pambazoo, and Nafe shuts it down. DZ finally get on the board.
And cleanly so. I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a close round, you can say, but they got a lot of different win conditions. The retake upstairs from Nafe, they get that final kill. The bombs are playing close together. And yeah, Trix almost had that nasty 3K back to back to back to get that bomb site completely opened up. But a plan did not go down. It was not established. Key didn't feel comfortable enough or covered enough to just stick it. When that toxic blade went out, he came off it multiple times, despite not actually taking damage from it. And that's tough. When you're in a 2 versus 3 or 2 versus 4 and you're trying to plant, it's basically effectively a 1 versus 3 or 1 versus 4. Because the guy planting, he can't see a damn thing. He can't help the teammate. But look at this, NGR holding down the fort. Bolo, same thing. And even though they won like their individual gunfights, they did have teammates nearby that could try and go for a trade if they failed themselves. Yeah, Nafe here saying the same thing as we saw. He was AFK the entire round. He was sitting backstairs, but seriously, and they're holding each other. Like, they're essentially holding each other hostage, making the game from a 4v4 to a 3v3. And usually what will happen is that, you know, defenders, they will get impatient and they will like see that the bomb site action is happening. And then a player like Nave would normally leave that position and go elsewhere. But he stuck around almost the entire time, locking out Seriously from joining the round in that scenario. And it was so worth it. And when he was done holding the flank, he walked upstairs and got the final kill to the hatch as well. So Nave with a really great understanding of what is needed from him. His entire playstyle so far in these first 2 maps has been to support the nearest team member, holding a crossfire, being there for a trade, joining them in on attack, or often holding a flank and trying, or a rotation rather, and getting those kills when the opponent moves a little bit too much. Really great work from Nave so far. This time though, he finds himself on a Warden, so perhaps it's time to seize some action. We'll see our first bandit try and trick those walls, deny the breach. It does just appear that DarkZero don't want to lock out Geekay and make it as difficult as possible. But Key will get that first wall opened up. Meeting wall has been breached.
They were very quick to do this. On round number 1, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Hashom was playing on the Amaru though, and was very quick to get to the top of the building and then hold yellow stairs, denying DarkZero a play on that part of the map, and more importantly, because the bomb site was on the main floor, cutting off a vital part of the top floor that is used so much in shutting down a plan. I think it was Hashom who got the kill on Bolo early on in that same position as well. This time, of course, he's running an LMG, which is a very rare sight to see. Usually, when operators are played, the LMGs are just too unreliable, so you run with the para on Capitao. Hashom instead going with the LMG.
Bomb located
Your
by
thoughts
attackers.
on this? Give me your thoughts.
I mean, I was gonna say Hashom likes to like reinvent the wheel, you know, like it's not like no one's done this before. It's just that no one seems to do it at the moment as of right now, and he's bringing it back. Grenade, it won't be cooked, but it won't matter because, well, it will just roll towards the shield and deny Bolo's position. The issue is that, well, my magnet was too far away from that drone hole, maybe didn't expect it, and now Bolo has to fight for his life in a very tough position. And the thing is, Hashom on the Capitao can toss out a fire arrow, force Bolo away, and then he's gonna be in a very, like, big amount of trouble here. There goes the fire, and there goes Bolo.
And the LMG just tearing through not 1 but 2. Bolo and Pambazoo removed. Hashom doesn't need to reload. He's still got 71 bullets left. A fire hose to spray at DZ. Elsewhere, Noodle eliminating Canadian. Trick's first attempt at the diffuser fails. Will have to go again, and it looks ultimately like it'll be successful. Hashom a third. Nafe in a troubling spot. Another round where GK has gotten the diffuser planted. So far,
it's just disgusting right now. I mean, Hashom is tearing it up.
Nafe running away, re-aggressing. Trix looks the wrong way. Nafe just trying to, I guess, keep some motivation going. Dies to the Trax Stinger. That should be on a bingo card. A Trax Stinger to win you the round. Doesn't happen all that often.
Oh, it does not.
Timeout had already been called. 4-1 though so far for GK. This one is a breeze so far for the Saudi team.
I mean, you can definitely tell that this is a map that GK feel a lot more comfortable on, or maybe
absolutely.
DC they do not, but I will say, you can say like DC are playing sloppy or they're making mistakes here and there. No, I think genuinely that GK are playing a phenomenal round of Siege, because if you break down the round that we just witnessed, they perfectly dealt with the shield position of Bolo, with the Wamai. Once the shield was gone, they smoked off the meeting door, fired the shield position right here, fired off top, smoked off top spiral, pre-fired the run back, knowing Bolo has to run. Hashom one tap for the smoke on the Peppersu. Phenomenal stuff. Pre-fire to cover the planter. Either you swing this and die, or you don't swing it and the plant goes down. While that happens, Canadian on Solids was downstairs trying to impact deny the guy planting, but guess what? GK also had a player in lobby. They had everything covered. The nade, the Wamai burn, the fire, the pre-fire, the smoke cover, the plant, and the plant cover. All those were all things that happened like nearly the same time. It was fully set up for exactly what they wanted to accomplish, and then they did just that. DarkZero right now are being out-red on Consulate. They are definitely the worst Consulate team between these two teams. They're always reacting once something has happened, instead of being proactive and again, guys, they're gonna go and clear out Bolo, we gotta help Bolo. Because if they had thought about that, then Nafe on the Warden could rotate over. He's Warden, he can see through those Capitao smokes. He could have saved the round, arguably, but they're not being proactive about it. So DC gonna figure things out, maybe make this a 2-4 half, then really fight for it on the attack inside, because if not, they gotta go Night Haven Lab, which will be the deciding match, or map rather.
It's the same position being opened up by Key out on balcony. Give them access to a part of the map that actually I don't think we have a consensus call out for at this point. I think some of us call it tables. Somebody calls it, I think, catering or something like that's the official call out for it. Back when Consulate was first introduced, we went through We had a meeting where at least NA was trying to get on the same page with where the callouts would be applied, and well, even we couldn't come to an agreement.
It was tough. And I mean, the thing is, like, players have these like very specific callouts that you only know if you're like in the scene or like you scrim or something. So even what we say is what players would say. No, and I mean, there's been times where a pro player will come on either as an analyst or as a color commentator, etc., and they'll bring those callouts with them, which to a casual viewer, somebody who's just watching for enjoyment and doesn't actively play the game, might think this is odd. Why would you call it that? All the same, Hashom is rewarded for a good previous round by an early death. DarkZero strikes first. Track Stingers go out with Seriously now governing over Yellow Stairs. He's got Tricks up top with him. Reload! I mean, you get top for control. Soft destruction towards the bomb site is a good look, but losing Hashom on the Cabot Tower is rather important. Those smokes and fires were crucial previously. And of course, just like the capacity in which Hashom can find kills is very crucial for this team. And Geekay, they're going to like reevaluate what is going to be the change of pace in this round, because what they wanted to accomplish might no longer be possible the same way any longer. And DarkZero actually playing proactively, saying Yellow Stairs is important, try and go for a retake. Soulless and Pulse, they can see the flank camps, they can see where the players are. If they can establish a retake here, like they did on Chalet, that could just be the way to win the round.
It's been really triumphant 2 maps so far by Noodle. Down goes Seriously to Bolo, so Yellow Stairs has been the main contest so far for this round. Down goes Knave. Diffuser in the hands of Tricks. I do like that GK has been kind of tossing around that diffuser.
10 seconds left.
Tricks will attempt the plant now. You have no time. He's still holding on to it. He attempted to plant it, dropped it for a second, went on. 2 seconds left in the round, and that's all she wrote. Canadians Nitro Cell gives DZ their second round through 6. First half goes in favor of GK 4-2.
Much better look there for DarkZero, but this is 1 by 1.
We got this ish.
Yup.
And then of course Bolo's yup.
But that is the mentality, especially on attack when you're down. I mean, everyone knows here that realistically, DarkZero shouldn't win down Consulate, being down 2-4, having a pretty terrible first half on defense in a defender-sided tournament and meta so far. And to make things worse, the Monty's banned by GK. So they obviously came in prepared to not play the Monty themselves. But DarkZero, if they had planned for it, if they're comfortable playing on that particular operator, that's no longer possible. So 1 round at a time, just like that. The way you think about this as a player is that it's 0-0. It's not 2-4, no. 1 round until someone wins or loses, that's really it. Don't let the nerves get to you when you're close to winning, but also don't start fearing, your opponent or doubting yourself just because you're down a couple of rounds or feel like you're losing and performing pretty poorly. Of course, easier said than done.
10 seconds left.
We all are humans, we do have emotions that affect us, and when you're a player, there are so many factors that go into it. Confidence in yourself and your team is extremely important.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
For a lot of players, it's hard to deal with. You have a slow start to tournament, slow start to a match, you start being like, can't really hit my shots, boys. Like, what am I gonna do? And all you can do as a team is say, you got this. Next round is yours, next map is yours, etc., etc., etc. And don't lose trust. Spawn peaks, early aggression here. GK slowing down DarkZero, saying, you're slow on Chalet. If you're gonna be equally slow here in Consulate, you might just run out of time.
These first 2 rounds are going to be incredibly important. You cannot allow GK to win this first round. Can't let him to win the second either. I don't see DarkZero coming back from a 6-2 at that point. Then you just slap the go next button and then you essentially gamble on Nighthaven Labs. But pacing is going to be really important here. How fast can DZ assemble some map control and get into the building?
It's a good question. They use a Grimby, nades, some stingers, all from outside the building. And again, Yellow Stairs might be the focus right now, but first they open windows, they apply this like phantom pressure. We're like a ghost, you don't really know exactly where we are, but we're just like in the wall somewhere. We got yellow pings on the yellow side of the map, so it might be a yellow skylight CO take here.
Grenade tossed down onto Yellow Stairs. We're seeing frag grenades being used yet again.
Ooh.
Pambazoo looking for more. He's got a shotgun this time. Noodle, I think, managing to take out the bees. Defending this position right now. But He'll get collapsed upon very quickly. Noodle with the first kill, but it's 2 in a row for DarkZero. As now they assert themselves towards the bomb site, but Bolo's been cut down to size by Trix, who doesn't find a second as it's seriously credited with the kill. Trix punished for that. DarkZero still with 2 upright to the 2 to match GK, but it's NJR now as the last one standing as the Nitro cell from Seriously connects. Him and his Shome still remaining. Seriously now tying Noodle for 8 kills to top GK. NJR has some semblance of an idea as to where these players from GK are. He's got 45 seconds. Clock will continue to tick. Get rid of the bulletproof camera, but great patience right now from GK. Tucked away inside of that catering tables area that we mentioned before. NJR squares his body away so he cannot be shot at. But now re-aggressing. Trying to get Seriously out of that cubby hole, softening up his Shome. Both players so low, but NJR just looks a hair above. Excellent patience from GK as they win their 5th round and are but 2 away from pushing us to a 3rd map.
It's actually a very, very beautiful 1 versus 2 to watch from both teams. Often it's like messy from one side, but NJR had a perfect read on the exact locations of both of the defenders. Yet GK also had that near perfect crossfire where if one person was in a combat situation, the other member would swing out and kind of equalize it into a 2 versus 1. And it really came down to who's going to hit your shot the best. If NJR hit the Jaeger headshot there, peeled back, could hit the the Warden proning, etc., maybe he wins the round. But if you don't hit those near pixel perfect shots, that crossfire will for sure be your doom as the sole player. And it came down to, again, very, very small things. Look at the sloppiness of DarkZero. Bolo sprinting into the angle, dying to cover the planter, and then things kind of fall apart. They didn't get that strong foothold they were looking for where they felt comfortable to make an active plant attempt. But the initial start was good. Hibana shotgun in, yellow staircase, Bolo follows up with a trade 1-for-1. You get that 4v4 near the bomb site that you want as an attacker on Consulate. But if a bomb doesn't go down, you're not having a good time. And that's what GK did so well. Out of 6 rounds, they won 4 of them. In all of those 4 rounds, when they were attacking, they got the opening kill and they got the bomb planted. That is how you find success here. It's not all that often that you just go for broke and go just purely for kills. You typically have bomb site play be a part of Consulate. And it's why we see both teams bring out something like the Ying, the Capital, the Grim, the Gridlock, etc. Because it is about getting to that stable position. DC now will change things and go into like the Brava, the Thatcher, the Capital, the Ying, heavily favoring utility. GK, however, they're pretty aggressive here. Melusi, Fenrir, Solis, Lesion, they can go for swings. They can try and risk 1 or 2 players. And if you kill any of those important operators, like the Ying or the Capital, you get an incredible amount of value there for a 1-for-1 trade.
It's been a cakewalk so far for GK through most of this map. At this current point, I think you can argue that they've looked like the better team through 2 maps, but alas, DZ won Chalet. Getting more and more likely like we're going to need Nighthaven Labs.
Yeah.
Loading new Meg!
As GK now sits on what I'd imagine is the more favorable side. GK picked the map and GK picked the map and DZ opted to go in the very first round onto defense. Didn't work out for them the way they wanted, which is ultimately what is the biggest warning sign.
It's very direct attacks from DarkZero. I mean, there's like us at the breach, Pemusu's rotating backside. It's like a 4-1 take right now, it looks like. Yeah, 4 guys front side. Pemusu looking for something, an intro A, place to backstab perhaps. But you can't just walk in with Ying Capital. That's too simple. Yeah, you see vertical from Noodle. He has got piano control. Toxic Babe's going out. Still 1 in pocket. Solis can see if you're planting exactly where you're planting. This looks like it's too simple for DC. I'm not sure I'm sold on this. They're gonna try.
You still got some tricks up your sleeves if you're GK, and you got utility in pocket. Bolo walks in slaughtering 2. Nave dies, but advantage is still DarkZero, and Pambazoo will take no prisoners as he sprints through the bomb site. Canadian's not too far off. DZ have full control. GK's players are ranged upstairs. This could be a great bait, but 3 kills so far from Bolo as the diffuser goes down means that any bait or any trap that GK might have set has been picked ripped apart by DZ. A fourth from Bolo, but a single kill separating him from what could be our second ace of this series. All he needs to do is find Noodle. Lords above, but DZ's not that team. They want the kill and they don't care who gets it. Noodle shrugging off some damage. Timer continuing to run away. This is a big round for DZ. Advantage still for GK, but it's NJR to get the final one. A 4K for Bolo. Denied every single one. But the bigger fish that they land is victory in that round. And DZ will stay alive for the time being.
I mean, I'm still not sold on the take itself, but if Bolo walks in and gets 3 kills like that, anything can work. It doesn't matter what you're going to be doing. But what I will say is that DC did have a good read on most of the gaps there. They kept our smoke off the ceiling, and they recognized that Bolo got the 2 kills on site, push all the way through. You're not playing inside of the garage. You're like cafeteria bomb set instead all the way through. There's no verticality. You can't get flanked as much. And then we see it, Bolo picking up 1, picking up 2. And then, of course, also held the flank. Perfect play there from Jason, literally locking down every single angle imaginable. It wasn't pretty to start things off. You wanted an ace, and I get that. If you're coming back after over a year of being out of the pro scene, and you're in your second map here in the first game, I too would want my ace, you know? And rightfully deserved. Bolo single-handedly changed the outcome of that round. 3-5 now. DC finding some comfortability now, finding some success. And the one thing that will work for them, they are very flexible in terms of the operators they can play. We've seen Bolo play Ash a couple times. The Canadian play utility operators, playing entry, playing lurk, etc. So it really comes down to what they think is gonna work the best, and that likely will be based solely off what bomb set they're going to be attacking. With Valkyrie being banned, there's no reason to play the IQ really. Echo doesn't really see play typically on constant either. So just get uncomfortable, strong operators. Soft destruction, of course, very favorable. And something like a Jackal, since Dokkaebi is banned, is excellent for Canadian to find those roamers and try and isolate some of those kills and build an early lead. That's what they did on Chalet. DC almost exclusively found every single opening kill when they were on the attacking side. They need to try and replicate that here on console as well to even the numbers right now. Jason's being droned in, holding an angle, waiting for a rotation, but nothing's really come of this yet. GKR comfortably just playing upstairs.
You on a first name basis with Bolo?
Jason. That's my boy, yeah? Mm-hmm. You know, he was actually at my house in Vegas a couple times. What's hype like that? Yeah.
Very cool, man.
Very cool.
It's a copy pasta where it's like, he's my friend. I can say his name.
He's my friend. He's our friend.
It's a much longer copy pasta, and I'm not about to dig it out. So, first Jackal as well in this matchup that we've seen. First Capkin that we've seen.
Capkin.
So nice to keep track of the operators that aren't played with the same prevalency as the other operators on the board. Even an operator like Ash, who for a period of time wasn't shown all that much, is now... there's a bit of a delay there. I think he had to prime the shotgun, I'm not sure. After a very good round from DarkZero, it is answered back by a not-so-great round. Canadian is dead, as is Pambazoo, and Pambazoo is having quite a poor map so far. In fact, he didn't really have a terrific Chalet either. I think he was NJR finished with 16 kills or something like that, which is a huge component of why they were able to eke out that victory 7-5. Bolo, almost nearsighted by Trixt, but just as the fog was coming in, Hasham finishing him off. No flawless round so far.
No.
In either of these maps. The GK primed and ready for it. Only 50 seconds left to find the final 2 kills. Get a flawless round and move on to map point.
Oh, he almost sees the Solus to the crack in the floor. Oh.
JR downed. Finished off. Hashom, 2 kills. Looking to break double digits. Will they silence Nafe before he can get on the board? Yes. Seriously, giving a flawless one to GK, and they are pummeling DZ. Objectively the better team in almost every measure right now, as GK are looking locked and loaded for Nighthaven Labs.
One of the difficulties about ever making like significant roster changes, quote unquote, shortly before a big event, is that there are 9 maps in the pro map pool right now. It is a lot of maps to learn, and while you can argue that every team can play like maybe like a Chalet or an Oregon, because they're quite default, they've been around for a very long time and they don't differ all that much from team to team, Consulate, as mentioned earlier, isn't quite like that. And I feel like it's very evident that DarkZero don't look all that comfortable, especially on the attacking side. It doesn't look like it's super thought out. They just seemed like they walked in the building, crouch walking around, didn't have like a really good grasp of what was about to happen. yeah, let's blow them out a bit there, Nave. I'm sure that's the reason why you're not dropping kills right now. 6 and 7, doing much better on Chalet, of course. No, but yeah, like, it seems like the overall plan isn't quite coming together for DarkZero right now, and I think that might be a mixture of two things. Either, let's say, Nave and Canadian, the two callers of the team, they have different ideas of how to approach this map, or simply that they haven't really scrimmed this all that much, or they are not getting enough intel. That's something to consider. When you are droning on the attack inside, that is how you gain all your intel to make decisions. If your droning is poor, either because you play a mute or a solace, a lot of drones are dying, or your teammates aren't droning that effectively, you cannot make good active decisions. So it comes down to guessing and taking risks and blindly walking through doorways and taking that gamble. And we see time and time again someone like Pambasu walking through a pathway and just die. Either knowing an enemy is there and losing the gunfight, or not knowing exactly where the enemy is and just having no real chance to win it in the first place. I want to see DC helping Pambasu more in the early round, because they need entries. Need to get in the building, need to gain control, need to gain a foothold, and Pambasu usually is your guy to do that. Bolo and Ash last round was crouch walking around the map, in the basement, in lobby, etc. But the second he made contact with an enemy, he got nearsighted by a Fenrir and he died. Like, that was it. So much effort and so much time, but nothing was truly gained. Pambasu first and again. No help, very much alone here, but logging down Visa at least to help his team take control of the admin upstairs.
Track Stingers deployed, 3 more remaining for Bolo. Honestly, doesn't really show much rust. They've been scrimming like crazy if you talk to the players on DZ. I mean, it's SI. What team hasn't been scrimming like crazy? But when you have 2 new players coming in and you do change up your system a little bit, as we've seen from DarkZero so far, obviously a small snapshot, but you need to get those players in to acclimate. There go the EMPs. Seriously still stalwart in this position. Pambasu dies to Noodle again. You cannot have Pambasu going 2 and 7, especially on entry, if you want any hope of winning this matchup.
No.
Might seem a bit reductive just to say that and that alone, but I think that is a huge part of it.
No, it is. It goes to, like, he needs help. All of DC right now, they need help. GK, they have vertical control. They got so many like holes in the floor. They know what corners are clear when they can't get like pushed out of. Like, they have this so figured out all the way through. And DarkZero, they just can't seem to break it apart. They can't seem to find any gaps or weaknesses. It's a really solid concept from GK.
I don't know if they knew that Hasham was in there, but as he was proning, he accidentally fired. And as he did that, he's given his position away, which is intel that Nafe will use. Oops. The greater issue right now for DarkZero is not necessarily just kills, but retrieving that diffuser. I don't know if a plant is what DZ has on their mind. Down goes Bolo, and I think at this point, it's a mental reset for Nighthaven Labs. NJR and Nafe in a 2v5. It was a flawless previous round for GK. They can basically do the same thing and put an exclamation mark on this map, but NJR has something to say about it. Noodle and Key double up for kills, and this one was fast. DZ looking like a fish out of water as GK crushed them on console.
Yeah, but I will say both teams now get to really prove themselves, because DC, they lost Nighthaven Lab, and GK, well, they definitely can fight back on a map that they're more comfortable on. So whoever takes that third map certainly deserves this best of 3 series.
The more best of 3s that you play, the more experience you're going to get. However, for a team that doesn't have that same level of international experience, which I think it's fair to say GK does not.
No.
Best of 3s can expose some serious flaws. On Chalet, not a lot of flaws, relatively close. Consulate exposed DZ's flaw on that map. What does Nighthaven Labs have in store for us? We'll be there in just a moment, but first, a break. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Welcome back to SI 2024, live from Sao Paulo, Brazil. GK holding on for dear life with an absolute dominant performance on their own map pick, forcing this all the way to the decider. And that was a performance that we've seen glimpses of in that first map, but on the second one, it was just completely exploding.
Yeah, it seemed like a really organized GK as well in that regards. I kept track of the opening kills and opening deaths during this whole game. And it was actually every single time that team that got the opening kill also won the round. You could see this very well on the attacking half, in my opinion, of GK, where you could see them get the opening kill. They would solo out that single roaming defender, wouldn't be able to get the refrag on it because it's a single roaming defender.
Yeah.
And then those last remaining guys on side, in particular, seriously, would really work well with that zoning utility, with that Grim, with that Gridlock, just putting these players locked into their own position, and that allowed GK to go for their own execute. I mean, seriously, he's at domestical LAN performance, no international LAN performance, but he is really showing up, and it's definitely good for GK.
Scary position to be in as well, because when we're looking at DZ, they won their own map pick 7-5. That was a pretty close one, Ollie. This time around 7-3. GK is giving them an absolute run for their money, what it feels like.
GK really have. They've come out bouncing onto Consulate here. It's a map that really suits this playstyle that they like to bring. You can see they bring exciting operators on the attack. They love a little bit of an Amaru. They love a little bit of Gridlock. Yeah. We don't always get to say that, but Gridlock can be a fantastic operator to utilize and to zone these players out. As Anne was saying, and DarkZero, they were really easy to zone out here. There were a lot of occasions where there'd be one remaining player alive, whether it be Nate, whether it be Canadian, whoever that was, and they were often a floor away from the action. Granted, they're meant to be playing a C4, they're playing some intel, they might be on a pulse, something of that nature, but when your team's collapsed on the site, it's no good.
So you talk about that playstyle that you were questioning whether, you know, DarkZero changed anything with those new players coming in. I feel like Canadian really enjoys that playstyle where you can just be that solo player like that Jacko, like the Solus, and that, yeah, sometimes it happens in a situation where you're standing off-site, you're playing that pulse, you're playing that intel operator, and you're not that close to you can immediately respond to one of those chaotic pushes coming out from the GK.
Yeah, and it feels like that does answer even more of the questions that we have coming into this. We said, okay, GK in map 1 going blow for blow with DarkZero. They do come out on top. They head then onto their own map pick, and it felt like they're in a lot more comfortable waters, which then to me brings the question in terms of that decider on Nighthaven, which team is going to be leading the charge this time around. I think as well when we're looking at DarkZero, something that we've touched upon potentially is like maybe their play style clashing a little bit with GK's, but something else that was noticeable when sitting here with the players, watching them play, is that communication, Ollie.
It was very chaotic at times, and I understand that in the heat of the moment, things do get quite chaotic. We get very lucky at LAN to sit opposite these players while they're playing, and we sort of scurry away in the corner and do our thing, but they'll be playing, and we get to listen, and listening is a really big part of this game, and you can hear some of the communication, particularly the night and day difference between the shot calling that's going on the side of GK, and then on the flip side, some of the more tense moments, some of the more moments that are getting a little bit too animated over on the side of DZ, and things are just getting a slight little bit confused there.
Yeah, it's sometimes people talking over each other when things are happening at that moment, and we were talking like, okay, what's going to happen to GK when they no longer have leader, who was that IGL for them during the Atlanta run, and so far it seems like Noodle's doing most of the shot calling. The IGLing, I'm hearing some shot calling from Key as well, and it seems way more organized, way more structured, whereas they said that they had struggled before with having that IGL pressure on multiple people's shoulders, where it just gets a bit rowdy sometimes.
Yeah, but it feels like GK genuinely has worked on that very well. I mean, DarkZero, again, you're bringing in new players, you have that adjustment period that you really need to get into, and fortunately this is the first LAN that you have the chance to really adjust to it, so it's going to be a matter of getting into the tournament, getting into the game, really getting a feel for it. But we still have one more map coming up on the series, and that is Nighthaven. This is going to be the decider, and I want to look at the play styles that we've seen from both of these teams in the first previous maps, and what do you think GK can do particularly well on this map that could set them up for the majority of their success?
Well, Nighthaven is a pretty big map, so once again, if you're looking at similar plays like Consulate, where defenders will be offside, they'll be working verticals, and you once again have that opportunity for GK to solo out the roaming defender and then go for that zoning utility on site. They could potentially replicate that playstyle coming onto this map. Now, Geekay also have international experience on this. If you look at the stats in the previous performances, say it was with that different lineup they played with in Atlanta, but it's the core that still has that experience though. Once again, the same issue for DarkZero. Previous map only played it against domestical teams. Once again, they've played it for the majority against NA teams when it comes to their Nighthaven results.
I know they played a lot of Nighthaven in NA. We could hear Stokes and Carter. They were crying about it up in the green room earlier. So you got to believe that they're ready to play this. They know how it runs domestically, and obviously now bringing it onto that international field.
Not only are they ready to play it, we are also ready to have it casted. So we're going to be heading over to our casters to cover the last map of this best of 3 series between Geekay and DarkZero. So Parker and Pengu, please take it away.
I get my first name. You don't. You are just Pengu. I am Parker. Not in Taro. And we have DZ versus GK in the final map. Essentially a best of 1 at this point.
Yep.
On a map that DZ likes very much in Nighthaven maps.
Might be a bit scared of you, GK, but I've actually played with Noodle in the European tournament for the Malta qualifier, and we almost beat Wolves, the pro team that is here. So I might have it in here as to what Noodle might cook up to beat DarkZero. Hey, Grandpa. Hey, it's cast time. It's cast time. Okay?
Sorry, you just literally bored me. Just leave.
That was quick, man. Is it? I thought it was Zoomers who had like really bad attention span, but you're a bit of a...
Oh no, my attention span's great. It's just it was very boring hearing you talk about your glory days, aka the most glory that you're gonna find, aka playing in ranked steps.
I mean, that's my life these days, Parker, you know?
Actually, your life is a caster.
Yeah, that's more like my holiday vibe, you know? It's like every once in a while I go somewhere for like 3 weeks, I commentate a lot, then I never do it again for like 3 months. It's more like a vacation time, you know?
DZG versus GK. Still haven't found out what the G stands for yet. I am very curious.
It's gotta be gaming, like DarkZero Gaming. But they're called DarkZero Esports. I know. Yeah. But what else would it be? I don't know. Not the Monty ban, not Dokipi ban. Some things will never change. That's okay. Here. I do like the Munchies keeping things the same. Asami. Yeah. And then a Valkyrie is pretty likely. That's been the trend so far. Tubero is playable, I would say, on Nighthaven Lab. We haven't really seen it much in this matchup, but no Valkyrie will be that same operator. So operator ban-wise, there has been 1 or 2 specific target bans.
Grim was the only difference.
Yeah.
Back in map 1, all the way back on Chalet, it was a Grim ban instead of Monty, but it was Monty on map 2 and now Monty on map 3. So operator bans on Nighthaven exactly the same, which suggests, of course, that these are not necessarily target bans. I mean, they could be target bans, but they're not map-specific bans. These are just, we don't want to play against these, we're going to get rid of them.
Yeah. And I mean, that's how most teams do it, especially at this stage where you don't really have that much like live intel on your opponent. It's the first day of the tournament where in a couple of days from now, in phase 2, in phase 3, you know, when we come to LAN, there's gonna be a lot of VODs to study. You'll see, okay, these guys love playing this operator, but only on this map. That's when those operators tend to get banned more often than not. Now, the way the teams typically play this basement bomb site is that you will actually have a pretty big roam game going on, which you see upstairs, and you play a bunch of C4s below. We see it right now, 3 C4s in the lineup, and a bulletproof, and of course the Solace. And you'll roam a bit, run around, waste time for the attackers, and hopefully get 1 or 2 C4 kills. In a perfect world, you have Valkyrie, Oben, or an Echo, or some sort of intel to pair with those C4s, but that's the game plan here. So GK, while they're not looking to win the roam, it is kind of like a waste as much time as possible, maybe get a kill or 2, and fall back to the side and waste a ton of time and utility. DarkZero, they know this. They play so much Nighthaven Lab. I believe the statistics before this BO3 started, the desk said it was their the map they've performed the best on LAN so far statistically. So we should expect a lot from DarkZero, despite the fact they've changed 2 players, getting in Nath and getting in Bolo. They have experience, they have the knowledge. They shouldn't look lost like they did on Consulate just the map before. Things start off quite well. Open up the wall to Garrett's downstairs in stockroom, looking for the roam. It's Tricks right now on the Solace, finding drones, pinging them, trying to deny them. And DC just taking things slow here. They're not gonna rush anything.
Only 4 rounds of Tubaro, as you pointed out, can see some play on this map. And what the operator does is greatly slow down entry to certain points of the map. When you're looking at this bottom floor defense from GK, the ability to trick those walls is huge. You get a Kaid, you get a Bandit on the board, even a Mute on the board. Always going to find EMPs being brought If you don't have a Thatcher, Maverick's a great addition, but I mean, Chubaru even counters Maverick.
Yeah.
So you don't really get ahead of it. I wonder if we're not seeing him because either A, he's banned out by teams, or B, he's just too new that teams haven't worked him in just yet. I'm not sure. Bolo first to die, seriously eliminating him. Canadian trades right back. Capitao showing up, but instead this time it's the para in his hands instead of the LMG. So just a small change. You've also seen those can openers open up 2 holes on the other exterior wall after the main wall had been opened up by the exothermic charge of NJR.
Also true, but the issue with those can openers is that you gotta vault on in. It's not a sexy way to do it. You're stuck in that animation, and I mean, Canadians got a tough job here. The smokes, the fires go out, but what's the follow-up plan here? Are you just gonna waltz into side, or is it gonna be a flank elsewhere looking for an opportunity?
I'm not sure. Oh, but Noodle looked for a long-range kill. Canadian is doing an excellent job. We're used to him being among the worst performing player on the team, but Canadian's actually held his own so far through these 2 maps. I mean, impactful rounds, but also getting very necessary, though not particularly sexy kills through the mid-round. Now he's got Diffuser in hand, 2 kills to his name, and he's halfway down with the objective.
It's perfect.
Nobody from GK has an answer to this. He goes for the run-out, gives his position away, NJR dies. Canadian with a 3rd kill. He's no more to Trix. So 3 kills for the team captain at DZ is all he will find. Now it's a 2v2. Bambazoo and Nath waiting patiently. Trix down for the count. It's Key. 1 point of HP. Not a lot left to do here. DZ in full control, and this is something that a lot of people don't know about the Candela. You can use the blink cluster charges and go through the floor. Flashes over top of the objective. The clock wasn't his friend. Neither was Nafe. First round goes to DarkZero.
I mean, it's an impressive round, but it comes, down to Canadian opening things off, finding those kills, because he's outside the breach in a less than ideal situation, and he just lands the craziest shot all the way through both bomb sites, basically. And it's like, okay, that's the bomb site player. I can walk on in, get that diffuser planted. He does just that. DC, again, they look much better on Night Haven Lab already, but GK didn't really seem like, to be fair with GK, they weren't really met on what they wanted. They wanted a roam clear. That's not really what DC went for 1-to-1. So this is just DC recognizing, okay, they want us to do X. We're not going to do that. We're going to hit the bomb site straight on, apply pressure, force the roam to be weakened and fall back a little bit, and then hit the roam a little bit in garage to deny verticality. And we saw, seriously, swing out and get 1 kill, but immediately trade it back. Those small decisions you got to make in an instant. Okay, I got my 1 kill. Is that enough? Should I go for more? And if you overextend a little bit too far, you will lose bomb site pressure. That's when the bomb gets planted. So if you roam too hard, well, gotta be careful.
Smile on Troy Canadian's face after that first round, and for good reason. I am very curious to see the confidence level of GK here. It seems like on round number 2, they are most interested in immediately running it back on that bottom floor exo bomb site.
I like that. It kind of signifies that small things that went the wrong way, we can go back and fix those, and then they have a different result. And I do agree with that. The way that Cersei died, the way that things fell apart, yeah, you can fix that very easily.
I mean, Noodle took an engagement he didn't need to at longer range and died pretty much needlessly at that point. Not that the smokes or anything was not that there were smokes or flashes or anything that were hugely important for that post plant. But Noodle just simply staying alive and being an active gun in a post plant is a massive boon for GK.
Yeah, I like to use the term that doing nothing is doing something. Just this sheer aspect of like being alive, having 5 guns up, it's gonna make the enemy more aware, more conscious. Okay, we can't just rush the bomb site here. There are 5 enemies alive. Whereas if you just died for nothing, it's like, okay, there's only 4 people alive. Now it's more feasible. So sometimes just the sheer act of simply staying alive and not falling early does have a lot of value. Trix upstairs roaming. There's a drone on him. He's soulless. He should know this, but somehow Canadian set a sneaky drone. Because they have the intel, they can make an aggressive advancement here, and he drops at the right moment. Both members swung him. He gets out alive.
I've been really impressed with Seriously on this roster. Had a very quiet but still strong game back in map number 1, and the map number 2 was very dominant. Obviously, Hishom and I think to a certain extent Noodle are going to be the 2 players that resonate the most with the community, and Hishom in particular is going to be somebody that people will cheer for because his plays are quite flashy, and back in map number 1, Hishom was excellent despite the scoreline for GK. But Seriously has been getting in there. getting into fights, taking early engagements, but also having very impactful kills. If he's not involved in the first pick, the second, the third pick beyond that, while also playing heavy utility operators. He's not just a gun. And I think that's fantastic, frankly, for a team that needs that level of depth at this level. They're finding it, and seriously.
This time, Geekay, they get the strat they wanted. They get all 3 C4s used. Don't let that kill, unfortunately, but they want DC to roam clear. They did just that. Now time is running low. 50 seconds. They're just down to the floor, the hatches, etc. Hashom swings, but this time he falls. Pemazu is successful. He's 2-0 now in the first 2 rounds. So while time is low for DarkZero, most things are going their way. But as I say that, Noodle finds Canadian. That's your captain off the board as well.
1 can opener remaining for DarkZero. That's it for Hard Breach at the moment. Other than, I guess, Bolo's single Selma. But a single Selma is not, I think, going to pay as much as that can opener will. Hold on. Pemazu heard us talking ish about him, Nick, in the previous map. Is now showing up huge. Nathan Bolo, the final 2 kills. We said that a couple times. 3 kills, though, from Pemazu is the real story. And he almost gets the diffuser down. I don't know if it was successful right as the timer ended. I don't think it was.
Don't think so.
Either way, a big round for Pemazu, and DZ now up 2-0.
This takes me back to the first map of Chalet where, you know, Geekay, they picked bar in Chalet, they lost it, they did it again with a slight alteration, they lost it again. They've done the same thing here. They go basement, the first time they lose it, slight alteration, go there again, they lose it again. And now, what we expect from them based off previous maps is they're gonna change up their playstyle, right? If they've been playing very fast, quick, like moving a lot, they're gonna start playing more passive. If they started playing more better guns now, they might play utility. Because a change up has to happen here. So I would expect some different operators. Of course, you would expect a very different bomb side. Otherwise, DC will just run with this. They're winning their attacks. Look at that. Different bomb side, and more importantly, very different set of operators. The Bandit and the Tuberu, the first combo that you and I will cast, Parker, where the whole goal here is Bandit will trick a wall, and then either Noodle on the Tuberu will delay it, so Bandit can run over there and trick the wall to deny something, or you sit there together and you just like you trick through it. They throw out an EMP and a thermite charge, you will Tuberu the wall, and you Bandit trick the wall. You go back and forth, you waste a lot of time on utility and resources really from both sides, but usually this will favor the defenders. You have 4 Bandit batteries, you have 3 Tuberu, what should we call them, EMPs, canisters, etc. Okay. Canadian almost dying early on. So I want to keep an eye here on NJR and Nath, the Thatcher Thermite combo, because that's probably going to be the biggest way to counter the Bandit tricking right now. Maybe even Bolo and the Ace will get into the mix as well. You Thermite one side, you Ace the other, EMP goes out. One of those 2 sides hopefully will go through.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when the Tuberu video came out, it was Nighthaven Labs where he was shown off the most.
I believe so.
In the trailer, because there's just so many exterior walls that already are relatively easy to Bandit trick or throw Electric Claws down on. There you go, look at that. Now you can get in position, 2 Bandit batteries in the pocket of Hashom. Know that there's Hard Breach there, but has to be wary of that window down below. Another will go and
trick it.
Should get it. No.
Okay, so one thing changed in the most recent patch, and I haven't played it with myself, but they nerfed Tuberu where the freezing gadget will also freeze the Bandit trick, so I think you have to shoot at the same time as you place it now. You can't just lazily freeze the wall, Bandit trick. You have to deny the freeze before the Bandit trick goes down because you freeze the Bandit battery as well now. I think that's what happened. And that's because the thermite charge almost all the way through, sorry, before the freeze came.
Yeah, it was instantaneous. The moment that the Zoto canister was shot was when we saw the wall open up.
Yeah. So
really playing just on borrowed time at that point. And now there will be another attempt, because there goes yet another canister onto the wall, and you can see completely frozen. Those 2 Selmas suspended in action.
Yeah, you see. So I'm pretty sure the way it has to go is Tuberu has to shoot his own device prematurely right before Bandit puts the battery down. That's how you got to do it now.
Just a bit more complexity being added, but I mean, if the criticism for the operator was that he was bringing about a 20-second meta, which was something that we didn't like, by the way. Boo, we didn't like the 20-second meta at the time. We're glad we're past it. Then you've got to find a way to make it so that Kaid and Bandit do not have even greater power And if that change does it, so be it. First pick is, of course, from Hashom. Down goes Bolo. Nate finds one as well. Only 25 seconds left. This has been a plodding round. Very slow. Seriously looking for another kill for his team. It would be his first on the round. Hashom goes down to Panbazoo as Nate is traded off by Trix. Seemingly everybody getting involved in the fray. Now it's Trix to die to NJR. Seriously, a second pick onto NJR. He'll lose his life. Noodle in a 1v1, and he wins it against Panbazoo. That was a close one. As close as you can get in the dying moments of the round, but GK break the 2-round streak that we saw DZ riding on. DZ still with the lead, but it's only by 1 round.
Very close. If Troy had the idea that Seriously was hiding right next to him, that could have been a different outcome in that round. But when there's no time, there is no intel either. You don't have those spare moments to go on a drone, ask for backup, etc. So you gotta take the gamble, take that risk. This time it does not pay out for DarkZero, but they got the previous 2 rounds. Already now in a 2-1 half on the 4th round to begin here. It's a great spot for both teams. DC already got some leeway, and of course GK, they're starting to build it up themselves. Go through those bomb sites, figure out like what's gonna work, what play style will counter DarkZero right now. It's about reading into your opponent. When you're defending, you pick your 5 operators, you gotta stick it. When you're attacking, however, you can attack or repick as much as you want. And kind of analyze what the weakness might be. There you see, seriously, just sneaking into that corner, getting 1 and getting 2, and doing damage to the 3rd. All Noodle needed was 1 bullet. And 1 bullet indeed hit the mark.
My favorite thing about LAN events are playing back the fist pumps, and if somebody shouts, you just hear it over and
every
over
time
and over again. Yeah. On your screen right now, by the way, an advertisement for the R6 share skins, which are 40% off at the moment, but reminds me of times long ago when Zofia was picked. Now, just a ghost of the past.
She was played last round, just to like annihilate your point, but yeah, she's not played meta anymore. Okay.
Yeah. It's called an outlier.
Oh, outliers exist, yeah?
And that was an outlier.
Okay. Well, you're right.
She currently has the same pick rate as Jackal and Capkin.
Yeah?
Because they were picked once each last map.
Okay.
Just to annihilate your point.
Yeah, that's fair. Outliers, yeah, I get it.
Nice bait, by the way, on to Seriously. As Bolo now actually playing the Jackal, means that Jackal has a higher pick rate than Zofia, so take that, Nick.
I am losing on both sides, but DC, they'll win the fights right now. They're approaching the bomb site, even Panbazoo, who's 6-1, by the way.
Nice bounce back from the previous map, where he only had 2 kills to his name, which is just simply not enough. A 7th now for Trix, as he and Nafe are holding an angle. A 7th now as he takes out Trix. He's trying to speak too quickly. You can hear the echoes of the FaZe D+ game going on next to us, but a small partition separates us from the B stream. And for you at home, only a URL separates you from the B stream, as you can go watch all the other matches that will be occurring over there. There are 4 matches on both the A stream and 4 matches on the B stream, all best of 3s.
Oh yeah. Best of 3s to phase 1 is, I love this, you know? For teams that tend to go home early, you get more experience going to an event. And for more experienced teams, they can also get exposed as to who has a weak map pool, because best of 1s don't punish poor map pool teams. GK DarkZero, they've gone the distance now. Chalet, Consulate, and currently a Nighthaven Lab, and they're still fighting it. But it's 4v2 now in favor of DarkZero, with still almost a minute to go. A good pace here, much quicker than the previous round.
Absolutely. No Nitro Cell for Hashom. His bandit batteries are already down. Key does have those smart goggles and a Nitro Cell for a post-plant situation, but utility heavily favoring DarkZero at the moment. Tons of Skeleton Key ammo. Still, 3 of those Rotero drones. Looked like there was 1 nade for Nafe that just got tossed out as well. A swing from Key on the window. When you're down those numbers, DZ doubled up on you, you gotta swing to try and equalize. That's exactly what GK do, but unfortunately, you take those coin flip engagements, 50-50, you lose both of them, and you're back looking at defeat. 3-1 for DarkZero. They regain a 2-round lead. Been jostling bomb sites. Looks like, not EXO, we call it EXO, or I call it EXO for shorthand. The official name is Tank Assembly, which is the basement bomb site. It was played through those first 2 rounds. not very successfully.
No.
You said that the reason why GK would go back to that basement bomb site in round number 2 was because they had some small adjustments they could make that would improve their standing. But that wasn't the case. The second round was arguably just as dominant for DarkZero as the first round.
Yeah.
What is going to change now for GK on their third attempt to this bomb site?
Well, the impressive thing is that GK did change things around, but DarkZero had solutions for both of those problems. So if anything, I think the applause goes to DarkZero more than the criticism goes to GK. But they will have something for a third attempt here. They're bringing out the Bandit, just like they tried on that CCTV defense upstairs. My only issue with this is when you just bring the Bandit and you don't bring a Mute or Kaid or True to kind of assist him, I don't really know what I should expect from how efficiently you can trick the walls. There are so many to choose between. There's a triple wall on main breach, a double wall on main breach, and there's also going to be the single wall as well. You cannot trick both walls at once. I mean, we saw DarkZero play Thatcher in previous rounds. They're able to if they want to. Not that they are right now, but I don't know if the Bandit here will be the solution. This round, this bomb site, typically will either fall or it will win on the roam game portion of this map, which DC, they've been excellent at so far. They like playing the Jackal. Bolo again, third time now bringing this operator. So if there's a roam, they will find it, they will shut it down, and it doesn't matter if you're playing Bandit or the Mirror or what you're doing on the bomb side, because with all that vertical destruction up above you, you're not gonna have anywhere to play.
Legion has been a staple of GK's defenses and has been jostled around from various players. What do you think leads to this resurgence of Legion, an operator who didn't really have a stable or steady footing in the meta, being played a lot by Seriously, and now obviously this round being trotted out by Hasham?
Let me tell you, the goo mine damage being back, the second you step into it, it's a tilter. It's only a little bit of damage, but still, like, you go into this play like, ugh, another one, right? Like, okay, Bolo shoots, he's a better player than I am, but like, you're supposed to hit them and then get annoyed by them.
Was that ever up for debate, by the way, about Bolo being a better player than you?
No. He's an SI champ, he's a legend. He's good.
Did you ever win SI?
No, Parker, no.
Certainly not back-to-back.
Certainly not back-to-back. And Fabian didn't win a third without me either, you know?
Drone out! And now he's an analyst.
Yeah, he downgraded.
No. Bolo, as you spoke of, being a better player, gets punished by Tricks, but Panbazoo has his teammates back. And you say goodbye to Jason Doty. So long, Bolo. Playing the Jackal yet again. I wonder if they are concerned with the roam, and that's why the Jackal is being brought out. I mean, Jackal obviously has good utility too. We won't see the smokes from Bolo be of much use. They die with him. Yeah. That is a problem.
I almost think the secondary shotgun might even be a bigger problem. They have no buck this time from Pambro. They have no vertical destruction. So the side is not going to be as exposed or vulnerable as I said earlier, because they cannot break the floor apart. So while they cleared the roam, while they have first floor control, they can't do a whole lot with this. So DarkZero a bit of a... they're kind of stuck in this round, honestly.
They're just going to have to brute force their way through it. No shortage of hard breach on their side. There goes the can opener. Another can opener in the back pocket of Panbazoo. That's the secondary hard breach. No thermite charges remaining for Canadian, as there's just a little bit of obscurement. Walking on in, excuse me, someone call 911, but not for him, Panbazoo. 9 kills to his name, walking in, getting the knife pick, looking for a 10. He's got some numbers, looks down, smoke goes. Another 2 as well, maybe for Panbazoo, looking for his 4th on the round. The cross is there, outdueled by Noodle, shut down by Nafe. Canadian looking to extend the round, doing so by getting the diffuser down. Seriously needs to win this for GK. 3 players from DarkZero standing between him and that diffuser. The clock, also an adversary. A nice shot, controlling the MP7 for Seriously, but he's given his position away. He's got a good idea of where the last 2 might be. Canadian and Nafe, they don't need to move a muscle. Just sit, wait, and that's exactly what they do. Nafe punishing him. DZ win their 4th round, 5th round?
4th round?
4th round? My goodness.
No, it's flying by, and honestly, a perfect 2v1 crossfire there from DarkZero. But we've been saying, where is Panbazoo map number 1? Where is Panbazoo in map number 2 of console? Because he was nowhere to be found. 2 and 7, I think, failing almost every entry, dying early, didn't get help, no assistance. But now here in the 3rd map where it matters the most, one could say, it's Pamba party time. He's getting knife kills, he's walking in, triple on the entry, and also he's initiating. He's setting things up, and he's acting upon it as well. He gave his team all the space in the world in that round. He opened up the plant possibility, got the bomb site control, and sacrificed himself in that final 1v1 to buy time for the plant cover. It was a selfless act that worked for the team. It was perfect. The big eyes there, oh, I'm blinded. The knife there out of nowhere. You see it here. You can see they love that. Important round. They were so locked out, no soft destruction, the main walls weren't open, the bandit did technically work for them, but when you lose out on a single staircase rundown by 3 attackers, well, that sucks. The worst way to go out. 4-1 now in favor of DC, and if you're Geekay right now, your biggest question mark is what bomb site do you go to? You just have not really found any stable success. The 1-round victory that they had was quote-unquote due to a mishap from DarkZero. Seriously snuck into a corner, almost got 3 kills, shut things down for DC. Had that not happened, odds are that would have been an extremely close round, or DC would have stolen it outright. They're gonna go back to CC. The 1 round they won, the 1 bomb set they won rather, and they're gonna bring that same lineup, the 2 Burrow Bandit, but hopefully this time they're gonna navigate the Bandit charges a little bit better and work proactively to deny that wall and not have that slip up where the exothermal charge did indeed go through. Adaptation though, Panda will actively block below Canadian support Bolo on the window, so they're gonna take downstairs control first, then breach the wall. Oh.
Ooh, Tricks getting out of there with his life. Iceberg face.
I mean, that's excellent. 3 players downstairs. It's soulless off the board. They can breach the wall now. It's really excellent room clear.
It was a textbook entry, too.
Yeah.
Well done by DarkZero. And this round not starting off particularly well for GK. Noodle's been the player rocking Tubero the most. I think all but 1 round so far that we've seen of the newest operator in this matchup has been played by Noodle.
Yep.
I think it was Key who played him back in map number 1.
It might have been. It might have been. No Maverick though. Like Maverick is like the easiest solution to Tuber, of course, but it's also a slow process. EMPs, verticality, more coordinated, you know, positions are gonna get the job done faster. But now you clear things vertically, but now the Tuber freeze is still gonna be happening. 20 seconds gonna be taken out of way, time and time again, or those 12 seconds rather. It builds up. This wall will take a while to get opened.
Those bandit batteries are there. Wall opens up. Bandit batteries remain, but or at least one of them does. Ultimately, this tricking from GK is not as successful as it could be, though it looked like from our top-down view that most of the defenders had fallen off of that position, so map control gained by DZ. Nighthaven Labs has a bit of a reputation for being a slower map, and it's certainly living up to that billing so far, but again, I gotta give some credit to DZ. They look quicker than they have with previous iterations. They found 2 kills so far. Key eliminates Nave, who didn't look like he knew where it was coming from. Over on the top of Fish, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Seriously engaging, taking the duel with NJR. Again, you kind of have to swing when you're in this situation. And NJR running out of ammunition. Nitro cell goes out, but Bolo to the rescue. 2 kills from the ace. And it is indeed finally 5 rounds, not in the previous one like I had said. 5-1 first half for DZ. They are punishing the Saudi Arabian team on this 3rd and final map.
And now you really hope that GK has that same mentality as Troy did when they were the team losing, 1 round at a time. Because when you're down 1-5, you make 1 mistake, you lose 1 round, you're looking down that match point scenario where things get really, really tough. Then you have nothing left to throw away. You can't make a single mistake, then it's over. This is the best of 3. They have fought their way here. It was a sloppy start on Chalet. They had a phenomenal console at GK, that is. But now here at Nighthaven Lab, they're getting picked apart every single round so far in the first half in various setups. Both in utility, in the roam clear, and most importantly, in the adaptation. Because this is so different than Consulate. On Consulate, it was GK always having DarkZero's card, always understanding what they're gonna do and shutting it down. Now, we flip that. DarkZero, okay, they're gonna play a guy below who's gonna, you know, deny us from breaching with Astro Sophia to stop the bandit trick. So what they're gonna do, we're gonna take Ace, Jackal, and Buck. We're gonna hunt down that roamer, bait him in by fake breaching the wall, essentially, get the kill, break the floor, then get the wall. Small adaptations like that are vital to success in these rounds. Because when you're attacking opponents for the second or third time, you're building upon what happened every single round and trying to get that final picture of how you think they're gonna play it. What change could they make, which they've not done yet. Now, Geekay on attack, and they've changed things around themselves. They're playing Maverick, the first Maverick of the series as well. But what happens next? Well, Canadian finds Noodle very early in this round. So a 4v5 start, when you're down 1-5 in round count, this is not where you want to be, and it gets worse. Because Nave also killed Hashon. So now you're playing 3v5.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
This is a great start so far from DarkZero. 45 seconds into the round. You've taken out the Jackal. There go a set of smokes. The only set of smokes, in fact, in hand for any of these operators. Good news is that all 3 remaining members of GK have access to Heart Breach.
That's true. Yeah.
So you're not going to be necessarily pressed to get into the building or get closer to the bomb site. But those peripherals, those other tools that you need, flashes, breach charges, smokes, etc. You're not going to have all of those at your disposal because of these 2 kills. Additionally, I think it's fair to say that with the exception of maybe Seriously, the 2 best players from GK are removed. And speaking of Seriously, he's got some weight that he needs to hold now, shoulder, and he does it. Getting Pambazoo, the best player in this particular map for DarkZero. NJR now standing against the Tides is Trixed with half the round to go. What? Gets the diffuser down. DarkZero don't seem to understand this. They've lost control. They hop on the Yokai drone, but it's too late. Their guns need to come alive. Trixed another kill, this time onto Nate. NJR not far away. Maverick pushing up. Shotgun blast from NJR. Works. Collects 2 for the price of 1. Seriously, last man standing. He'll need to get every single kill for his team in this round, or else DarkZero moves to series point. Just a small jiggle peek around the door, gets the drop on a Canadian, followed up on by none other than Bolo. And with 3 seconds to spare, NJR is able to hop on that diffuser and successfully disables it. DZ moves to series point.
Way too close for comfort. I mean, I was gonna say that like realistically, that round was over the second Hashon died. It was a 3 versus 5. But a quick 3-1, drop the hatch, go for those kills, and somehow, someway, they just stick the plant. And DC, despite having Toxic Babes, a C4, and Yokai drone, had no idea the plant was going down. They were thinking, we're fine. They smoked off the window. There's no way they can do this. But the plan didn't indeed go down, and they almost were also successful at defending it in the post plant. A ridiculous set of events, which I don't even know how that happened, but NGR, the hero once more for DarkZero, finding those 2 shotgun kills was vital to their success.
That's actually on me.
Yeah, there it is, Nate. That's on you. You're playing Echo, buddy. Where are the Yokais at? But I love to see this, you know. Yeah, they're winning 6-1, taking responsibility when you're losing. It's probably not that difficult because things are going well for you. But I do love seeing when players, they say, you know what, that's on me. Like, solely, win or lose that round, I should have played my part better. If you're the Echo with the Yokais and you don't have active intel and you know that one thing they can do is rush the side probably in that scenario, yeah, that's kind of on you. But team effort regardless. 6-1 for DC, they are looking mighty comfortable. And GK, I don't blame them if they're just going to go for something crazy here. Running through a building, you know, try and counter a spawn peak, you know, maybe do some split theory sessions here, just like go 5 people on 5 different sides of the map, try and go for a pick or a kill. Because right now at this point, as a team on the fundamentals of Siege, you know, communication, teamwork, crossfires, etc., DC are just a better team. Which, to be fair, given the experience difference between these two these 2 teams, is expected.
Yep. Accountability is also really important, and that's something that teams maybe need to keep greater mind of. Yeah, going on Twitter after a game and blaming your mouse or your computers or your monitors or the weather conditions or the chairs or the table or whatever, you know. That's a whole other conversation for another day. But when you mess up and you say, my bad, that's all that matters.
Yeah, goes a long way.
Obviously, if you keep messing up and then you keep taking accountability for it, that's great. The idea is to not mess up. Mistakes are going to be made almost every single game by every single team. Even as dominant as they've looked, W7M has made mistakes over the last run that they've been on for the last year. It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
But try to limit the amount of mistakes you make and take accountability for it. And it's good that somebody like Nath is coming in on the team and doing that, because leadership is something that I think Canadian will benefit greatly from by having somebody else at his side to take accountability and take ownership of those mistakes, even if they're team mistakes. Dave doing that is great. And clearly things are working for DarkZero. Maybe not in this round, Nick, as Geekay are up 5v3 with half the round to go.
Yeah, they got good solid drone intel. I mean, they got the locations of every DarkZero roamer locked in. And it's just saying, okay, this guy's gonna move soon, guys. Get ready. They hop off the can to shut them down. Nave looking for a pick back here. They have the exact read on each other, but NJR is first with the C4 vertically onto Trix. That's Maverick off the board. Not crucial upper in this round necessarily, but the numbers go back to DarkZero's favor for just a moment.
I mean, it's closer than it looks in all reality. It's just a matter of a utility-less DarkZero needing to come to blows. Hasham is there to shut them down, at least for now. He and Noodle in a 2v1. Bolo be the hero. Pops up, down goes Hasham. Noodle and Bolo in a 1v1. Oh, how sweet it would be for Bolo to give DZ the win. His first match in how long, Nick?
381 days.
Unbelievable, and he finds himself in a tense moment. He alone could propel DarkZero to a 2-1 victory over the red-hot team of Geekay. But there's work to be done. Noodle will find some comfort, some security in the corner, getting the diffuser down. Bolo will attempt to get him out of this position. Noodle just needs to hit him with a single shot. Bolo will tempt fate with the super shorty, but Noodle wins the engagement at close range, and we continue onward. Another round for GK, but it's only their second round. It's a tall hill for them to climb to get to the top. Right now, it's DZ trying to keep them down.
It certainly is. And I mean, Noodle did a great job at establishing what could be the win condition in the 1v1 because Bolo played it smart. He had intel with the bulletproof camera if Noodle were to push him. And he had, you know, the cover from the desk/table in front of him as well. He's just playing the positional game. But there is one weakness there. The corner in exactly where Noodle planted, Bolo has no vision of. He has a push to a rotate that's crouch hide. It's not great. And of course, he was low on HP from an earlier engagement. So Noodle did find the one way he could win. And well, he took it for his team. It's a close round though, despite the fact that they got 2 picks early in the round. Nave always holding angles, very disciplined, very patiently. And then usually either looking away at the wrong second or just losing the gunfight. I almost feel bad for him. But it's hard when you're up against a team like DK. They can really shoot back. We talk about experience, we talk about regions and practice schedules and like how many other good teams in your region you can practice against with these big teams, but MENA doesn't have any of those excuses. I mean, they don't use, any of those excuses. They just show up, they do really good, and then they go home. And then they come back and do better. There hasn't been a lot of, oh, it's hard as a MENA team to find good practice or yada, yada, yada. No, very simply, they perform. A very new region to the Tier 1 space of Siege, but already impressed us at multiple events in this year alone. It's their first year. Now, taking on DC as a start would be a fantastic beginning for this team. But how realistic is it in reality? Well, if Chalet had gone better, could have been quite close. Nighthaven Lab, not the way they wanted things to start at least. But they have had a lot of good rounds and a very good mapping consulate. So perhaps the one weakness here for Geekay is just they need a bigger map pool. That comes with time, comes with experience, comes with studying.
Hamizu got it at the last second. My goodness.
Okay. Bomb located by attackers.
I was unfamiliar with your game.
I didn't think you... Oh, so...
Rob.
You know why he got that? Because Ace's Selma charges are like, you know, 0.3 seconds slower now or something like that. Very minuscule difference, but it mattered there. Would you look at that?
Scanning for devices and threats.
Trix opening up small avenues in to try and shake off those bandit batteries. A more troubling spot for GK, other than an inability to shoot out the bandit batteries, is now you've lost Hasham, who has shown that he can take over games on the squad. Could need an awful lot more from, seriously, who's looked like the best player, but honestly, GK have not looked very good in this map. No different than how DZ looked on console.
Let's see now, they got no Selmas left, so just the Maverick and Trix. And DC, they read this, they fell back to the bomb site, reinforced off the connector wall. They got a Maverick it open, or brute force way through a single doorway where Injar with a shotgun will be awaiting them.
The walls are closing in, and he's about to get pressured from behind as well. Oh. But how many bullets missed him?
Yeah.
At the beginning? That was half of a meg.
And where's the backup? Like, how does he die like that?
I'm confused. Maybe just waste time. Bolo holding steady on what I imagine is the beachhead. as he's made his way now onto the catwalk and can cycle on over to close in on the bomb site. Key is gone as well, meaning that this triple hard breach combo for GK allows them a little bit extra insurance, but you're down to just the Maverick at this point because all the Selmas have been used by Seriously. Good guns in the hands of all three operators on GK, but the wherewithal I don't think is quite there. Bolo has woken up, can't go for all three. Seriously continues trudging forward with that goo mine in his foot. He pops up, and Pamba shuts the door. A very muted celebration from DZ, who you wouldn't know it from your screen, but
they won.
The match is over. There's no triumphant music. There's no screaming. It's just...
Oh, there it is.
I spoke too soon. DZ prevailed in the second match here on Stream A, just simply out-muscling GK on a very lopsided Nighthaven Labs.
I know that celebrating is important, but I feel like when you're a team with big expectations from yourself and from your fans, celebrating your first win against a quote-unquote weaker opponent compared to like the top dogs, you can't go that far, right? Respect the fact, okay, there's a long way to go for us. This is just the beginning. Celebrate, but don't overdo it. There's a lot of time to be made here, a lot of practice to be had, and better teams, arguably, no disrespect to GK, to fight later on. But a great BO3. It went the distance, but Nighthaven Lab and Chalet, DC are just a tad more scary than that of GK.
I mean, a good look for a team that has made probably the biggest changes to their squad in a long time.
Yeah.
Probably since Pambazoo was initially picked up, or maybe even Canadian came onto the squad. We've seen DZ continue to try with the same formula, just substituting different pieces. But it is abundantly clear that Nave and Bolo have changed the way that this team plays. There's far more communication among all 5 players. There's more cohesion, it seems, greater flexibility. So an excellent first look for DZ. GK, still good, but a best of 3 will expose a weaker map pool, and clearly Chalet, and even more importantly, Nighthaven Labs, not exactly their strongest. That's it for our second matchup. Let's break down what happened between DZ and GK.
Thank you so much, Parker and Nick. See, I can say both first names. I do really appreciate the cast, but that is right. We're looking at DZ, and they have secured themselves the first win here at SI. I mean, a dominant performance on that final map. It does, however, showcase that GK doesn't have maybe the deepest map pool.
Yeah, but I like that point indeed that Parker made at the end there, right? I mean, we did talk about that 3-game win streak that GK have on this map, and the fact that it was international as well during Atlanta, but that exposes certain things that you've done in the past on this map that allows for DarkZero to see what's happened, what's been going on before, and basically they exposed that, and they showed that with an international experience, they can take down a team like GK.
Yeah, and if we go back to the wider shot, you'll actually see that we have kicked Ollie off the desk, and instead we have our...
Got the better Brit on.
Okay, coming with smoke straight away. Thank you so much for joining us, Nate. We do appreciate it. Congratulations on getting that first win here at SI. Joining a new team, getting the first win under the belt, being here in Brazil. How does everything feel?
I know I felt good, honestly. A bit shaky nerves, I think, on Chalet. I think we could have closed out a lot earlier, but I'm conscious, you know, it was their pick. We played pretty bad as well, but I think third map we were there.
Sounds good. I'm very curious about the big difference between your prior team and the team that you're on right now, right? It's a different region, everything's different. How's that been?
Well, first of all, they don't understand half the stuff I say, and they blame that on me being British.
I mean, I can understand that, to be fair.
No, it's the other way around. I can't understand half their lingo. American, they should adapt to me, pretty much.
Yeah.
So far, that's been the only be like, oh, they go, I can't hear what you're saying. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm speaking English. You speak English too. It's like I speak a different language to them.
I mean,
honestly.
It is what it is. But you touch upon as well the fact that potentially that second map was not your greatest moment, and that's completely true. It was a 7-3 for GK. What were the shortcomings in that map? Because you're talking about them not understanding you, but it was kind of like all 5 of you, you know, talking at the same time. Yeah. What was that?
Yeah, obviously in the real game, obviously it's nothing to do with that. I think we kind of. Well, we thought they was going to pick one of Club or Labs.
Okay.
Not that we weren't prepared for Consulate, but maybe it wasn't as good as like the other 2. But I think, yeah, honestly, I think it came a bit down to preparation. And honestly, I think the first few rounds, it was early picks, giving them the solo picks that they want, because I think they struggled on execute. So I think that's we realised that like the last 2 defences, like just don't like play far back, let them execute, and then like we finally got the 2 rounds on defence.
Yeah, congrats.
Where you say makes sense, though. I think Clubhouse would have been a very sensible pick to pick against you guys. But to look at things in perspective of the group, who do you think is the most difficult opponent in your group? Or have you already faced the most difficult opponent?
Honestly, yeah, I don't know what that guy's doing. Honestly, I think I think everyone in the group's going to be hard. You know, cliche. But these guys play their own kind of siege. I think we're probably more confident against the other teams in the group, just like for the way they play. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the games.
All right, thank you so much for the time, for the interview. We really do appreciate it. And you guys at home are going to give you guys a refresher in terms of how this last game went. So when we're looking at the performance here, and DZ came out swinging. I think that second map was potentially just a little blip in the radar, but all in all, a really, really great performance. Oh, do you want to say anything about him being the better Brit? Actually, Alia, I want to start off with that, 'cause thank you for joining.
Yeah, the interview, believe it or not, because the room is very loud.
He said he was the better Brit.
He said they got the better Brit on the desk, so he was.
Ah, right, okay, I get it. I was going to be really nice and say it's so nice getting an NA team winning and having an EU person on the desk for the interview, for the winner's interview. So I was going to be quite nice about this, but there we go.
But that's low-key still a dig at NA, though.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But I think I'm a DZ fan now, you know? I was starting to be a DZ fan in Atlanta. I'll hold my hands up to that.
Okay.
I think we had the sets up on the screen just now, right? But one thing that I am very curious about is what the hell Pambazoo had during that break, because he didn't have the greatest of map 2, but on map 3 he came out swinging. He was on the entry, he was active. What did he go, 14 in something? He was absolutely showing up on that third map.
He had the beautiful Sao Paulo air. Like, it's really warm and fresh.
yeah. That probably was it, yes.
But that could have been it. But all in all, I think, like, definitely, like, the difference between map 2 and map 3 from DarkZero was absolutely phenomenal. It felt like a completely different team, a lot more in terms of that cohesion that we were seeing. Also from the communication side, Ollie, it felt like they were more on the same page, and it does to me bring the question, when they are under stress, we are in this stressful environment, how is their resilience?
They've definitely got a little bit of resilience there. They've got a heck of a lot of experience on the team, and it's something that I think everybody will say about this DarkZero roster, is they've got a lot of experience. I think this is Canadian's 8th SI or something crazy like that. Like, this guy has been around, and the rest of them as well. So you start looking at this now and thinking about going up against a team like Geekay. I really think they just got found out there, and maybe that's the difference between the difference in quality in terms of region. Obviously, we spoke saying that DarkZero have played this map a lot domestically. We've seen them play this map quite a lot. Although GK have played it and they've got a reasonable record on it, they haven't played it that much, and they haven't really played it up against top competition. They've played it a little bit internationally, but look at what happens when they go up against DarkZero. One thing I will say is it was really interesting right at the end of that game, even though DZ won the map, Bolo swung in the 3 versus 2, and at the end of the map, Canadian was like, Bo, like, reset. Like, we can still lose those 3 versus 2s. Like, we still need to rein it in a little bit. But throughout the whole game, Bolo was screaming for kills. He was like, give me the kill, give me the kill. And someone was like, it's first come, first served. I think that was on, like, Cafe or something like that.
They were having a good time.
They were having a lot of fun with it.
About.
And that's what you need. You need the vibes to be high.
Yep, and they were high indeed, but also I want to talk about the intel play of the game, and that will be the ace that we've seen. I think that is the first ace that we've seen here on the ace stream, at least, and it was from Hasham. I mean, we were talking about him during that first map against DarkZero, and how he had a phenomenal debut, just an incredible performance on those hero plays.
Yeah, just getting all the kills with your secondary like that, that's just, I guess, showing dominance, but we talked about it earlier, right? It's that kind of relief that you see on the players' faces after you pull off a play like that. It just shows that maybe on the side of DZ, especially with this iteration of the roster, there is a lot more experience than we have seen with previous iterations of the DarkZero roster, and especially for the GK players, this is still relatively new territory. This is, like we mentioned, Seriously's first international LAN event, so it's all still a little bit new, but hey, that's why maybe they should be lucky that we have this group stage and they still have all these games to get warm up into this tournament.
Yeah. All in all, when we're looking at the both games that we've seen today, especially so with G2 up against NIP and now with DarkZero up against GK, I think we've seen in terms of how the teams can really come into this international event swinging, and that's the case for G2 as well as the case for DZ. But then we're also looking at teams like GK and NIP that need a little bit more time to get into the swing of things. But you mentioned, yes, they have the group stage, that is correct, but Ollie, the bottom of the group will go home.
Absolutely, and that's something you really want to start keeping a bit of a keen eye on, and things like round difference will start to make a little bit of a difference potentially as well when we get a little bit deeper, because there will be sort of tie-breaking factors to see which of those teams go home. We commented on DZ in Atlanta not really giving themselves the easiest time of things. They do like to go to 3 maps, they do like to go to an overtime. They've gone to 3 maps today again, which does lead you in to believe that, you know, although it's a different roster, is it the same old DZ where they don't quite make things easy for themselves and they could have got it done a little bit sooner?
Maybe some things never change.
I've looked at the roster for tomorrow, or the schedule for tomorrow, in regards of Group A, because of course Fear X today have it their off day. Geekay actually have their off day tomorrow. I think this might benefit them in the way that they just suffered a loss, whereas it went all the way to 3 maps and they were close to someone taking that one home. And then have this day to really like calm down, see what went wrong, try and make some changes, make some adjustments to come out swinging against G2.
Yeah, sit back, relax, and have a break. That's exactly what we're going to be doing, because that's it from the 3 of us on the desk. But we will have 2 more games coming your way with the lovely batch of analysts. We have Jesse, we have Laxing, and we also have the amazing host Rob that will be taking care of you for the next 2 BO3s. So don't go anywhere, or maybe if you need to grab a snack, go do that. We'll be back with the halftime show, which is going to be really interesting, and the remaining of the game. So take care, and I'll see you in a bit.